Hello, good. Happy hump day. Chris is going to be late, so I'm going to carry on without him. No, now we're streaming later tonight too at 7 p.m. Central. So we're going to do 2 streams today. And other than that, I don't really have anything new to update you on. I have some tweets I can go through. And we'll start from there. Okay. This is a tweet from a pro-Palestinian guy. It kind of highlights what they believe are the assumptions that they're operating off of. He says this is still all downstream from the fact that the Zionists aggressed on the natives, first by intentionally migrating into the area to colonize and displace them. So buying land from the Ottomans, having the League of Nations give Britain a mandate to settle them there, was all the Zionists aggressing by intentionally migrating into the area in the first place. So there's this, I keep saying this over and over, there's this deeply held belief that they're trespassers, they're interlopers, like they're in a place that is not theirs and they should not be in from the very start. And that's the source of all of the conflict. And that's just not, that does not match historical facts. So people that are believing that are just seeing what they want to see and interpreting things. And just, you could say the same thing about the United States. As any xenophobe, the Arabs at the time in mandatory Palestine saw the arriving Jewish immigrants as invaders, even though they weren't colonizing or displacing anyone, but they still committed pogroms multiple times over the course of 30 years. So a lot of the debate hinges on this colonialism versus legitimate settlement, or they weren't even settling, they were given a nation. Like, don't lose wars, and this won't happen. And don't start wars that you lose, and this won't happen. The state of Israel was largely founded on land that was already widely Jewish or had been purchased by Jewish landowners. Also, the land belonged legally to the British Empire. There was no Palestinian land. British can do what they want with it. They went with what the League of Nations authorized them to do, which was create the state of Israel. It wasn't their land. If they owned it, they wouldn't have tried to make a deal with Britain before World War I. It wasn't their land when the Ottomans ruled it. It wasn't their land when the Brits ruled it. Then it was split up and they violently rejected it. Let's see. This is a really good thread. I think I maybe talked about it once. I know I posted it in a few places. It's a taxonomy of anti-Semitism, and he identifies 4 different strains. I won't go through them, but I'll just make you aware of them. There's the theistic anti-Semitism, right-wing anti-Semitism, left-wing anti-Semitism, and Black American anti-Semitism. As someone who fights anti-Semitism online, I feel no rise in anti-Semitism in recent weeks. Actually, I feel a positive development, more awareness in the West to the anti-Semitism in their midst. And I've given examples from like many years ago where there's some of the anti-Semitism that was existing on the left. So yes, this did not come out of nowhere. It's the pot boiling over, but the pot has been there for a while. Western leftists know nothing about Israel or Palestine, so of course they imagine Israelis to be mostly white transplants from the US or Europe instead of brown Jewish descendants of refugees from religious persecution elsewhere in the Middle East. Friends of Israel wonder why Israel can't beat its adversaries in the court of public opinion. There's one Israel, 22 Arab states, 48 Muslim majority countries. They dominate the UN and NGO network. They have such a power advantage that they convince the world they're the underdog. We see that happening with the trans people and the anti-racist people. That everybody convinced that they're the majority. I think I played that clip already. Anti-Semitism on campuses is the inevitable outgrowth of years of teaching that America can be neatly divided between the oppressors and the oppressed, which is the lens that people are viewing Israel-Palestine through. And of course, people on the left are going to view that through that lens because they do it with everything. Why are centrists viewing it through the same lens? I don't understand. Like this, they don't use that lens with America, but they turn around and use it with Israel. I hope this. No, let's see. For the left, the issue is never the issue. Issues are pretexts for action, excuses to organize, and opportunities to build power. That's why they can be both pro-trans and pro-Hamas. I'm not going to read all this. I know the Israeli narrative about Hamas and Gaza because I hear it every day. Hamas are terrorists and want to eliminate Israel. The Hamas-Palestinian narrative is that Israel was oppressing Gaza for years while not being present in Gaza. But I have not heard one example of that oppression. So if anybody wants to come on and give an example, I will rise to Scott Adams' challenge. I'm not saying the alleged oppression did or did not exist. I'm saying the dog not barking is the examples of said oppression. I guess I will read the whole thing. Protesters tell us that the entire war is about those examples of oppression. Why would the oppressed not want us to hear the examples every day? All of those protesters with signs, all of the interviews, all the social media activity, but not one example? Just Jews be mad about us killing them and nothing more? Reminds me of BLM. Their demands were a combination of unsupported factual claims and ridiculousness. Yeah, exactly this, but why am I seeing it from the center? Who are the same people that rejected from the left are doing it in the center. This one's interesting. My take on those taking down posters of the kidnapped. Intersectional, and anti-colonialist orthodoxy dictates that Jews are part of the oppressor uber class and Palestinians the oppressed. Its adherents, therefore, can't abide acknowledging that Hamas is the perpetrator and the kidnapped the victims. Their rage at the dissonance causes them to take down the posters. So it's an acting out in a attempt to neutralize their own cognitive dissonance. It's definitely like limbic. It's like blind emotional. It's not. There's not a lot of rationality going on in it. In their minds, I think they rationalize and justify it. But the videos I've seen of them taking down posters seems very limbic. All right. An Israeli ground raid on the Hamas headquarters under Al-Shifa Hospital is coming very soon. Israelis have been urging the hospital staff to evacuate the area, but so far no luck. The UAE's announcement of a field hospital in Gaza is coordinated with Israel and is likely linked to the forthcoming evacuation of Al-Shifa Hospital. The evacuees could then be transferred to UAE's field hospital. Hamas will try to do everything in its power to stop the evacuation of the Al-Shifa Hospital. This is important because Israel is going to get accused of bombing the innocent civilians in this hospital. Hamas will try to do everything in its power to stop the evacuation of the hospital because it knows very well what comes right after the evacuation. Hamas has been providing the hospital just enough fuel to keep it functioning. The evacuation of the hospital is not in the interest of Hamas. The media must do its job and educate the world about the Hamas headquarters under the Al-Shifa Hospital. It's wild that there's a whole generation of brain-poisoned online leftists whose only worldview is America bad. They can be talked into supporting anyone, Russia, North Korea, Venezuela, Hamas, any horrifying left or right-wing government, as long as there's an anti-US angle. Oh, hey, Illumination. Left-wing ideology is a method of justifying pre-existing hatreds. American academics justified Hamas terror in the name of decolonization. The Nashville trans shooter justified mass murder in the name of fighting white privilege. Resentment in the mask of justice. Yes, that's why Harold Bloom calls them the school of resentment. And Nietzsche has the concept of resentment. I like this one. You are queer if you think you aren't normal. You are queer. The rest of us gays who have self-respect will go on not degrading ourselves. We are uncommon. That doesn't make us abnormal. That pretty much is the divide between queer and gay as I've experienced it. Queers don't think that they fit into society, nor do they want to. And gay people think they're different, but they're still a member of society. The anti-assimilationists were what we called the queers back in my day. Much of the anti-Israel rhetoric is based on the flawed moral reasoning of one wrong and you're evil. Bibi was willing to countenance Hamas leads to claims that it's Israel's fault. Of course, Israel has committed its fair share of wrongs, but the big picture is that as a liberal democracy, it's far more moral than any of its undemocratic neighbors. Don't buy this rhetorical sleight of hand. That's what I was trying to say. When you put everything in the scales, I don't know how Israel comes out lower than Palestine or Gaza. But in some people's minds, it does. That's why I don't think that they're putting everything in the scale. I don't think it's like a very fair and thorough weighing of the facts. There was a total war of destruction aimed at Israel. Of course, there were extreme acts committed. This is about the Nakba, because this guy says, is the Nakba just one wrong? The Nakba, or war of extermination, launched by the Arab countries against Israel, was a complicated set of actions. There was a total war of destruction aimed at Israel. Of course, there were extreme acts committed by Jews in that war. There were massacres also against the Jews during that war. If Israel had lost, every Jewish man, woman, and child would have been murdered. There would be no refugee crisis. Evacuating civilians from a combat zone is genocide. Not evacuating them is genocide. Proclaiming your intention to eradicate an entire ethnic group in your founding charter is not genocide. That's what I've been saying. I can't even get past the charter. I don't even need to go anywhere but the charter. But somehow people are like getting around it in their mind somehow. So that's all the tweets I have backed up. Oh, let me put my banner on. As usual, come on if you want to talk. Any topic is open. Well, let me be careful about that. No trolls. Let's keep the conspiracy stuff to a minimum, and if we do talk about it, let's do it rationally and intelligently. Other than that, come on and talk about whatever you want. Let me see what's going on YouTube. Oh yeah, did y'all see? Hang on, let me find it. Andrew Wilson tried to do a debate with Matt Dillahunty, and he got pissed off and left. Let me find the clip. Oh, hang on. YouTube's trying to show me ads. YouTube like forced people to disable their ad blockers recently. 2 ads? See, I don't even look at the ad. I just look at the little window that tells me. Look at Matt Dillahunty playing on his phone. Okay, here's the clip. Hang on. Let me screw up my settings. All right.
Anything. Okay, why do 9-year-olds need to be able to have sex in order to advance humanity? Why do we need to lie about a person's sex in order to advance humanity? Why are these things necessary for human flourishing? Why are decency laws bad? Why would Christian ethics stop flourishing when the theist mandate is to reproduce, and the secular mandate is let's just all have sex and have fun, bro? That sounds way worse for human flourishing. In fact, I would say not reproducing is a worst possible thing for human flourishing, because if there's no humans, how do you flourish? So I guess, in essence, step one, I remain unconvinced. Step two, I need to be convinced, so I'm no longer unconvinced. And step three, but God not real dough doesn't matter here. I've already granted it to still demonstrate just how stupid this ideology actually is. With that, I'll yield my time, and I'm happy to get into it.
Hey, James, I just sent you a message.
All right. We are going to kick it into an open discussion. So 50 minutes, and let's kick it.
No, I don't think so. I'm not going to sit here and dignify the preparation that I went through and what people were here for.
You're so indignant.
Keep interrupting me.
I am.
Okay.
You're so indignant.
Would the moderator like to step in so that I can finish what I'm saying?
Please, Matt. Please. How dare someone have an opposing worldview?
I'm not going to sit here and dignify what was supposed to be a debate about Christianity versus secular humanism, which one's better for the world.
Yes.
With someone who clearly showed up with an agenda that has nothing to do with that. Someone who refers to trans people as deranged lunatics who will self-terminate if you dare to question them.
How am I wrong, Matt?
Someone who misrepresents a quote from a debate where I said I wouldn't make a law about 9-year-olds having sex being legal with respect to the 9-year-olds, not that I was in any way in favor of it and that I was actually opposed to it, which I addressed during that debate. But moreover, this is not remotely an honest interaction on the front of whether or not secular humanism is valuable. Because this, when he presented his position here, has nothing to do with secular humanism. From the get-go, it's all about me. Matt thinks, Matt thinks, Matt thinks. I'm giving what Matt thinks, what Matt thinks, what Matt thinks, what Matt thinks.
Matt's position.
I came in with the Secular Humanist Manifesto. I came in with positions that aren't just that aren't merely my position.
Oh, well, as long as multiple people hold the position,
this guy's not serious, and I'm leaving. James, if you want a refund, you
well, good day, sir. And I'll cover your refund, Mr. Cool. Matt.
He just said he'd cover my refund.
I would cover his refund.
No. Nope. Nope. No, I'm not going to dignify a debate with someone who walked in to trash talk people and be smug and all of the things that he's being right now. He's already said he will cover my expense. You don't have anything to worry about. This debate is over. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Jackass.
Oh.
Did you call me a jackass, Matt? Well, you and your husband have a good day, man. Have a wonderful day, Matt. Yeah. Yeah. No, that was fine. I mean, if you're going to take a parting shot, I will too, Matt. Yeah. Yeah.
My parting shot's correct.
No, your parting shot's correct? Oh, man, tough crowd. Tough crowd.
Anyway, I thought it was funny. I don't necessarily disagree with Andrew. I disagree with him on some things, but I find myself agreeing with him on a lot. And he's right. Like, the guy called him a jackass. Andrew didn't say anything nearly as crude as that. He told him and his husband to have a nice day. So, oh, let me see anything else going on YouTube. Nope. And what's going on in the world? Let me check the real news. I haven't even looked at it today. Something Hunter Biden, Trump trial. Anything going on in the world? Oh, they might free some hostages. No, nothing super major that I see. So that leaves it open for you. This is your chance. This is your moment to come on and shine. Or tell the world what's on your mind. I have nothing interesting going on at all right now. Tonight is Survivor. I'm going to get my haircut later. I guess I live a very first world life. I'm just here keeping this space open for people that want to use it. I know there were some topics I was supposed to get into a while back. That's when it was going to be mostly me doing this. Now that I have all these other people, they kind of took a back seat. I'm still working my way through the Bible. I'm still on Abraham. Or Abram. He's still Abram. I have that Harold Bloom thing. There's a Northrop Frye thing I think I want to present. I'm just figuring out how to do it all without making it dry and boring. I don't have video powers to make interesting videos about it. It's going to basically be me with a book. That's really it. Friday we're doing a movie. I'm considering doing Laurie Anderson's Heart of a Dog, simply because I had forgotten all about it, and as soon as I remembered, it like shot to the top of my list. She's a multimedia storyteller and performance artist, and the movie is it's not a plot driven movie. She uses imagery and sound and narration it's a like meditation on death and dying with some commentary on the modern world sprinkled in. And it's one of the most intense movies I've ever seen, like visceral and intense movies I've ever seen. And it's the most unflinching look at death in cinema that I've ever seen. Like, she really takes the phenomenon of death and holds it up to your face for a good hour or so. And the movie's it's like an hour and 15 minutes, so it's not that long of a movie, but it's quite a fine piece of art. And I'd like to show that this Friday. It's going to be a very niche movie, but we're doing it for people that are interested. We also have evening streams starting now. We're going to do one tonight. Machine Lies is also streaming at 7:30ish if he starts on time. Ours are going to be at 7 p.m. Central. Tomorrow we'll do a stream, 7 p.m. Friday. We usually watch a movie and then do a discussion around 7 p.m. So we're going to try to have content for you during the day, like this, in the afternoon, and in the evenings. If I had the means and the time, I would keep a 24-hour stream going. I did that during COVID. I had a 24-hour Zoom that me and some volunteers kept going. It was for support, people to drop in, people that were socially isolated. So I would do a similar thing with the stream if I had the manpower. Here's NeuroJack. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you. What's the movie that you were going to review?
It's called Heart of a Dog. It's from Laurie Anderson. It's an art house film, really. I don't even know if it played at major theaters.
The way you described it sounds interesting. I haven't seen really many movies that surprised me in a long time, so I'm always interested to.
You might like it. It's more like a video
See something
collage
new.
than it is a movie. So what's up?
I kind of like I don't know where I got my inspiration from, but I kind of like that kind of. You kind of don't. I think a lot of the movies that seem like they're not about anything actually are some of the deeper movies. I don't know. Maybe I'm.
Yeah,
that's kind
like
of the way
they can. Yeah, they can speak. They speak a visual language, and part of us does operate on that level. So you can communicate on bypass the verbal, the logos. of my favorite filmmakers is Stan Brakhage from like 60s, 70s, and it's just it's like visual random abstract images. There's no plot, no narration, barely any actors. It's almost entirely a visual language. I see Jack's having connection problems. He's trying to get back on, but it's trying to connect. I don't know if he's driving or out and about. Sometimes he's flying kites at the beach, which looks really cool. So we'll see if he comes back. But yeah, I like all kind of movies. Well, actually, that's not true. There are some movies that I don't like at all. But I like a range of movies and cinema styles. There's also a movie called Symbol, which we're gonna watch. Maybe we'll watch it tomorrow. It's a Japanese movie. It's very bizarre and surreal and existential. It's basically this one Japanese guy in this little white room by himself the whole movie, and interacting with weird things. I've only seen it once. I really liked the ending, but I need to watch it again to see if the ending still holds up in its impact. Okay, here's Jack again. Welcome back. Are you driving around?
Yeah, but it was really weird. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Can you hear me? Fuck. Yes, it is really weird.
But I have
keep
perfect
dropping.
service, so I'm not sure.
Can you hear me?
Service, so I'm not sure what's going on. Sorry, it's really weird.
Oh, it keeps dropping you. Are you there? Can you hear? Okay, well, we'll let him figure it out, and he'll come back in when he's able to. So yeah, we'll probably watch the Symbol movie sometime this week. If not tomorrow, maybe Saturday. I'll have more time. So we have two artsy,
Yeah, I'm excited.
fartsy. Ah, okay. Are you back?
I feel like I should know more movies to suggest, but I haven't really been thinking about movies that much lately. So I got to really think about it a little bit.
What are some of your favorites? Are you there? You keep dropping out. Well, when you're able to come back, just let me know what some of your favorite movies are.
Yeah, I definitely will. I saw some of your early. I didn't catch all the stream before, but I did want to talk to you about that portion of the debate that you played of Andrew and
Oh yeah, and I watched
Matt
the
and
questions from the audience after. After he left, they just took questions from the audience, and some of those were interesting.
I just
Uh-oh, you're breaking up. Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna work. You keep breaking up.
I don't know why I'm breaking up. I'm muted.
Are you gonna be somewhere where you like stable soon, where you can talk?
Yes, I will be. I'm muted, so I don't know why there's any sound. So that's really strange.
I don't know. You keep like going robot or dropping out completely.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, he'll come when he comes. What else? Movies. There's a whole list of movies that we plan to go back and watch. We're kind of going through older classics. More, I think it's. Oh, you think it's StreamYard? Is there anything I need to do on my end? Okay. Man, I've only been going 30 minutes and my brain's already getting burnt out. Oh, let me check real Twitter because all of those were tweets I saved from a while back. Let me see if there's anything recent. I'm looking. Nope, it doesn't look like it. It's pretty quiet news day, at least in my little data bubble. Oh, wait. Do I have something? Somebody sent me something today. Nah, it's kind of old stuff. It's about white privilege being the backbone of anti-racism. There's something called, here, I'll share this. It was interesting because it's a Wikipedia article. Is that what you call them? Articles? Entries? A Wikipedia entry. It's called White Identity Development. And it's this theory that this Janet Helms lady developed. And it's the message seems to be that there's something flawed about the white race and you have to develop this identity to overcome it. And there's different phases of, so white people have to take their current white identity and develop it into a new form of white identity. How white identity can develop, whatever the hell that is. Like I've never had white identity in my life. I struggle up here in the Pacific Northwest because I don't have a white identity and the white people all think I'm weird. Through the process, whites become more aware of their role in society. Like we're all given a role in society based on our skin color with the power and privilege they hold through systematic racism. What power and privilege do I hold? I want to know. Please tell me because I want to use it. I want to take as much advantage of it as I can. I need every little edge I can get. We might have Jack back.
Okay, let me know if the audio does anything weird. It should be fixed now. But
okay, well let's see.
Is it sounding clear?
So far, yeah.
Okay, good. I'm using my headphones that I tried to salvage. I had to do some sort of update on them or some weird stuff. But so let me know if it's weird. But yeah.
Okay.
Hey, what's up, Chris? I had a request, if you don't mind. Can we break down the very end of that Andrew debate? Like, I just want to cover what Dillahunty said and like him walking out. Like the comments that they were making on the way out, I thought was very interesting. I just wanted to cover that with you guys, if you don't mind.
You want me to pull it back up?
Yeah, if you don't mind. I just want to break down that little interaction because I thought the interaction was very interesting because I think what they said was interesting as well, but I think actually that little interaction on the way out was very I just wanted to get you guys' reaction.
Okay, let me find
are you talking about that thing that was streamed last night?
No, like this was a debate that Matt Dillahunty did with Andrew Wilson. It was a live debate.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
And Matt Dillahunty walked out on Andrew. And I just played it, but I'm going to play the part Jack's talking about so we can go over it. I need to change my sound set. Oh, no, they're good. All right, here we go.
People hold the position.
This guy's not serious, and I'm leaving. James, if you want a refund,
well, good day, sir. And I'll cover your refund, Mr.
Cool.
Matt.
He just said he'd cover my
I
refund.
would cover his refund.
No. Nope. Nope. No, I'm not going to dignify a debate with someone who walked in to trash talk people and be smug and all of the things that he's being right now. He's already said he will cover my expense. You don't have anything to worry about. This debate is over. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
He gets paid for that.
Did you call me a jackass, Matt?
Yeah, wait. Let me. This is an important part.
Nope. No, I'm not going to dignify a debate with someone who walked in to trash talk people and be smug and all of the things that he's being right now. He's already said he will cover my expense. You don't have anything to worry about. This debate is over. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Jackass.
Did you call me a jackass, Matt? Well, you and your husband have a good day, Matt. Have a wonderful day, Matt. Yeah. Yeah. No, that was fine. I mean, if you're going to take a parting shot, I will too, Matt. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, your parting shot's correct? Oh, man. Tough crowd. Tough crowd.
There we go.
So what was the important part?
What do you guys think?
I mean, I didn't hear the rest of the debate. What made him mad in the first place? What triggered him?
Andrew and his personality more than anything.
Okay, I didn't know there was one.
I mean, he tried to rationalize it by saying that he was coming to have one type of debate, and Andrew switched it to some other type of debate and made accusations.
Well, what I think what Andrew said that really made him mad. He has a transgender partner, I guess.
Matt does?
That seems to be the impression.
Oh, is that why husband was a parting shot? Let me see. I'm looking up Matt.
Yeah, and so like basically during the thing he taught during Andrew's opening statement, he basically said stuff about transgenders are, something to the effect that they're themselves if you disagree with them about defining male and female as biological and not or something along those lines, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I've heard the name Matt Dillahunty. Honestly, I've never seen a single thing from him, or I didn't know anything about him. So just hearing the name mentioned before, so I was just looking a little bit over the. So he's basically just famous for being an atheist. What a weird thing to be famous for.
He's from Austin, because when I lived in Austin, it was that Madeline Murray O'Hare lady that was. So I think he's like the new person. There's a huge atheist. Like Austin was this huge like What do I want? I don't know. I'm losing my words today. Like a huge central point for atheism.
yeah. Well, I mean, I never really watched that much Matt Dillahunty. I mean, I get the impression that he's kind of a dick as well. But
American Atheist was founded in Austin, and I think. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. But I mean, I guess I'm just trying to get you guys' impression of like both of their behavior. Does it seem to add up to you as far as why they would each behave in such a way?
Well, it looked like typical Andrew behavior to me.
I mean, a little bit actually.
He behaves that way with everybody.
Andrew usually looks much more mad doggy and serious about stuff. Actually, I mean, honestly, I mean, this is my impression, and like I'm not a big fan of Andrew, but my impression from just seeing that clip without seeing anything before it was that with Matt Dillahunty, I guess, he's like he was acting kind of like a petulant child that just like that got his feelings hurt and was just like storming off, go take his ball and going home. And Andrew said like he seemed more like flabbergasted than anything. He was like, okay, I don't even know what I did, kind of thing. I don't know what happened before. I'm just saying, but from just that clip, I would have gotten the impression that Andrew was in the right. But I mean, I'm not predisposed to take that position. So
I played a few minutes before. I want to play it again, but Andrew was just giving his opening state. All they did was opening statements, and there was something in Andrew's opening statement that Matt got butthurt about.
because usually whenever I see like Andrew get to kind of like that place where someone's ready to quit, he usually is more like going in for the kill, and he's like usually more serious and more focused and more of an asshole. He didn't really seem. I mean, his little parting shot thing, I guess, was an asshole statement thing, I guess. But the other guy was also doing the same shit to him. I don't know. I mean, like it was some of the more reasonable footage of Andrew I've seen, and from what I've seen. But that's based on just that clip, so it's not based on anything else. So. I also think it's. I also find it funny anytime someone who's a famous atheist accuses someone else of being smug, because I've never seen a famous atheist that wasn't the smuggest person in that room. So
But that's why it seemed personality based. Like he made some comments about the way he framed the debate, but then he threw in comments like, and then calling him a jackass at the end really kind of tipped his hand for me.
So you think that in general that Andrew was kind of in the right to what he did?
I mean, it's just what I saw.
I don't know what he did because we only have Matt. Like that, what we saw of Matt leaving is the only thing we have to go off of. All Andrew did was give his opening statement, like in any debate. He didn't say anything directly to Matt Dillahunty. He just read his statement, and whatever was in his statement was what Matt was reacting to. I mean, we can go back and play the whole statement, but it's like minutes long.
No, oh no, I'm not saying that. I mean, I guess for me the interesting part is just more like obvious. I think that obviously Andrew's intention was to say something to emotionally trigger Dillahunty.
Well, you know what? Let's play the statement after all, because it might be it might give us topics to talk about.
Very much appreciate everybody being here. All of you are way too stodgy in this room, very low energy. Just wanted to let all of you know that. Ladies and gentlemen of all pronouns, the Z's, the Zers, the hims, the hers, I would like to thank you for this exciting in-person conference on modern day debate. My name is Andrew Wilson. There's a few ways this debate could go. The topic is Christian ethics versus secular humanism. Which has a better foundation? The funny thing is, I already won that topic because, as Matt explained to Jay Dyer, he has no justification under the skeptical belief structure to give an accounting for any meta-ethical presupposition he may have. He just kind of grants himself stuff. He grants himself logic, he grants himself reason, he grants himself an entire worldview, even though he's using an unjustified starting position for it. So I'm not honestly all that interested in doing the God not real dough debate, because one, it's boring, and two, it's also really boring. It goes like this. I don't see enough evidence and remain unconvinced there's a God. Then I say, but you use the theistic worldview of justification like there is a God to grant yourself logic and everything else. So instead of that, I'm just going to grant Matt's entire worldview. 2/3 or more of the planet of this entire planet are all operating inside of a shared delusion that they were created by a sky daddy who loves him some slavery and murderousness. He thinks it's funny to kind of cosmically with people. That's his deal, kind of his whole thing. That's Matt's worldview. So now Matt's right, and the question becomes, should we let them to continue to believe in this nonsensical Stone Age madness, or do we stop them from engaging in it? My contention is, even if God isn't real at all, that people acting as though he is still superior to whatever nonsensical egalitarian worldview Matt can come up with. See, Matt also just acts as though the things he believes are true. He believes, and therefore acts as though logic is real, math is real. Everything is real based on his presuppositional belief that they are real. You see, human flourishing, the cornerstone of Matt's ideology and that of secular humanism, is totally meaningless. Flourishing by whose metric? From my perspective, for instance, attempting to lie to people who claim men can be women isn't human flourishing. From Matt's perspective, it is. Why? Why should the collective of humanity lie and say men can get pregnant? Why should they say that men can have periods? Things which are categorically and obviously false. That preserving homosexuality in society is good for human flourishing, even though they are reproductive dead ends. And that Western society and egalitarianism is superior to those evil theist society, even though the Western nations can't even reproduce their own populations, but instead have to replace their population with foreigners from those theist nations that can reproduce. Let's start with a basic societal question recently asked of the West, who has now embraced a scientific and non-theistic approach to governing. Super basic question every kindergartner knows. If you don't believe me, go watch Kindergarten Cop. The question posed to the Western nation is, can a man be a woman? All right? To the question of if a man can be a woman, they say the answer is yes. And the way we will decree they can be a woman is by simply saying that woman now means male. Problem solved. Thank you, secular humanists. Thank you so much. Nope, not kidding. Why, you ask, would people be this over the top stupid? Well, it's simple. The good is the good, man. We have to do what's good for human society and human flourishing. And if you don't call these deranged lunatics something they obviously aren't, they might self-terminate. So in order to avoid that, we need to make everybody on planet Earth lie to them. This is human flourishing. Just redefine shit, pretend it's true. How laughably absurd this worldview is. Matt will often say, I remain unconvinced. Well, Matt, I'm also going to use your standard. I need for you to 100% convince me beyond a shadow of a doubt that males can have babies. What's the answer going to be? No, Andrew, you big stupid. Males can't have babies. Men can have babies, because we just defined man to include females, dummy. Well, Matt, I remain unconvinced. I'd like Matt to convince me that if you are a male and you are having sex with another male, which would not be allowed in my version of a secular humanist worldview, how is it that you're not just basically having sex with a guy with a wig on? I really want to know the answer to that question. Not just me, but all rational people who aren't lunatics also want to know why it's ma'am isn't a complete and total crock of garbage. Because I remain unconvinced that it isn't a total lie, and that these people don't just pervert the language to include their own perversions and then add human flourishing at the end. Matt has said he wouldn't make a law stopping 9-year-olds from having sex with each other. Not kidding. Now, I know this is going to sound a little bit totalitarian, but I would in fact create laws that made it a crime for a 9-year-old to have sex with their 9-year-old. I would hold the parents criminally liable for allowing this to happen in my evil authoritarian society, where I don't even let 9-year-olds have sex or the parents go straight to jail for negligence. Now, I think that's better for human flourishing. I think maybe parents would be far less likely to let their 9-year-olds do that if they went to jail. Stupid me. Next, I would, in my authoritarian society, decree that all simulated sex acts in public were criminal offenses and would make sure that all people went to prison for the crime of indecency, which doesn't assist with human flourishing. And I'd like to know why I'm wrong. Secular humanism can basically be whatever the hell you want it to be. It doesn't really need the principle of freedom or the starting axiom of freedom and peace in order to postulate whatever it wants. It's sloganeering. They're slogans. They don't mean anything. Okay, why do 9-year-olds need to be able to have sex in order to advance humanity? Why do we need to lie about a person's sex in order to advance humanity? Why are these things necessary for human flourishing? Why are decency laws bad? Why would Christian ethics stop flourishing when the theist mandate is to reproduce and the secular mandate is let's just all have sex and have fun, bro? That sounds way worse for human flourishing. In fact, I would say not reproducing is the worst possible thing for human flourishing, because if there's no humans, how do you flourish? So I guess, in essence, step 1, I remain unconvinced. Step 2, I need to be convinced, so I am no longer unconvinced. And step 3, but God not real dough doesn't matter here. I've already granted it to still demonstrate just how stupid this ideology actually is. With that, I'll yield my time, and I'm happy to get into it.
So there. He is mischaracterizing secular humanism. We went over it yesterday. They have very specific principles. And it's the same principles of rationality that he's claiming for himself, Andrew. So I agree that the stuff he described is irrational and makes no sense, but that's not part of secular humanism.
How was he? How was he?
Chris, you're on mute.
how was he mischaracterizing secular humanism? I'm asking because I'm genuinely not sure.
How is Andrew mischaracterizing it?
Yeah.
He is saying that all the trans stuff and all that is justified through secular humanism, but it's really not.
I
Because
have heard
secular
people, that claim to be secular humanists do that, though. I'm not saying they are, but people
Well-
claim that. So it means it's part of like the ether out there. I'm not sure I'm not saying it's right, but I have heard people claim that.
Well,
They claim to be
let me
humanists.
clear it up, because that's what I try to do on this show. But yesterday, in fact, I'll share the Wikipedia article. Yesterday, I went through this is the Council for Secular Humanism. This is their worldview and principles. Need to test beliefs, reason, evidence, scientific method, search for truth. None of this would apply to the trans practice of calling men, women, and all. None of that fits these criteria. When
Right.
you apply the need to test belief, reason, evidence, scientific method, and search for truth to the trans issue, you don't come out with the results that the trans people are coming out with. But Andrew is saying that secular humanism is what's producing their worldview, and it's not.
Well, I think what Andrew was saying, and this is, I mean, that I'm giving him something, being charitable here because I don't know everything about Matt Dillahunty. But my feeling was that Matt Dillahunty claims to be a secular humanist, and those are things that he believes. Therefore, he was ascribing them to secular humanism.
Right, but that's incorrect. Like, because as a secular humanist or a former, in which Satanism is still built on the principles of secular humanism, or mine
Sure.
are anyway, I completely 100% disagree. Matt does not get to make those claims for secular humanism without
I agree,
somebody like
but
me challenging
agree
him
with you,
on it.
But you
and
debate someone on their
asking him to-
terms, though. But
Huh?
you debate someone on their terms, though. You know, like I said, if you're debating someone who says that they're a secular humanist and they believe those things, and those are for us, like, you have to debate them on those terms. I'm saying if that's the case, I can be wrong about that. Maybe Matt Dillahunty doesn't actually ascribe those things to secular humanism. But if he does, and I was debating him, I would do the same thing. I would say, like, you're saying secular humanism is all these things, so I'm going to say why they're wrong. That's how I would do it too. I mean, honestly, that's the most reasonable I've ever heard Andrew.
I wouldn't ascribe his views to secular humanism. I think
I
that's
would if Matt Dillahunty was claiming that he was one and he was ascribing that to them, and then I would be debating Matt Dillahunty.
I would emphasize the contrast between his views and what secular humanism actually is, and get him to defend that and say something like, your view of secular humanism is not what I understand secular humanism to be. Look, this is what the Council of Secular Humanism says it is. And how does your view on trans comport with that?
I mean, that's fair. I mean, that's not ever been Andrew's kind of tactic, though.
But Andrew was swallowing the premise himself that was the secular humanist worldview, and it's just not.
Yeah,
Or
I mean,
it's not according to the Secular Humanist Council may have somehow shoehorned it into their beliefs and justified it, but if you go by their own principles, it shouldn't be the secular humanist worldview.
Well, at least getting someone to explicate why it does comport with it would be a more honest tactic, in my opinion. But again, I understand what you're saying, but it sounds like you should debate Andrew on that, because
I've already tried a debate with Andrew. He doesn't. Andrew, like, you can tell by who he's debating, because some people he's really nice to, and some people he takes this really combative, defensive, aggressive style toward. And it happens at the very beginning of the debate, and I don't know what it depends on. It's like something under the surface. And
I've never seen him be nice, and like, I mean, even when he debates with Paul, and he's friends with Paul.
I think it's people that he's threatened by that he takes that second approach to, and that's the approach he took with me. And then I watch him debating all these other people, and he's very nice and polite and like fair-minded toward them.
Maybe I should watch more of his stuff, because I've never seen him be nice. That's the nicest I've ever seen Andrew. I actually thought his opening statement was fairly reasonable, even if I didn't necessarily agree with everything he said.
I mean, it was definitely provocative, but that's Andrew. Like, all his statements.
Yeah, but you're supposed, in an opening statement, it should be provocative. It's supposed to provoke the remainder of the debate. You know, that's actually that's a solid tactic, I think, for debate. I don't agree with him about, like, his homosexuality. Obviously, I don't agree with him on several things like that, but for the most part, everything he said I thought was fairly reasonable, and assuming that it's based on what Matt Dillahunty believes, and he's specifically debating that, I think that it was, fairly logically consistent and everything too. But then again, like I said, I don't know enough about Matt Dillon hunting and stuff like that, so I'm basing this on very.
Well, one thing he said that I'm surprised you guys didn't pick up on, which is that he said that male on male sex would be illegal if he were able to get his system.
No, I did. I said I don't agree with him on that at all.
Yeah, I don't either. But I didn't understand his point of tying it to somebody with a wig on.
Because he was, I think that was a reference to. I think did you say something about Matt Dillon is with a trans person or something like that?
I didn't hear him say that in the opening statement. I'm trying to find information on that.
I heard one of you guys
has been married to this lady named Beth somebody, but I don't know if she's trans.
Well, I would have to assume that was what it was a reference to, saying that he was just having sex with a man, even though it was really just a man with a wig on or something like that.
Well, the one thing I did like about Andrew's tactic, which actually is the only reason I wanted to see this debate, was that in his opening statement he said he's going to grant his whole worldview, which is much better than the way most of these debates have been going, where it's like I'm just going to attack your presuppositions endlessly as a Christian, which, I think that's actually a very genius move on his part, because it actually would have made for a very
interesting debate. I agree. I was like, that was one thing that was very, because I've seen Andrew go really hard on the whole like God, his Orthodox Christian views and God existing and stuff like that. The fact that he was just granting him that God doesn't exist, there's no sky anything like that kind of thing. I thought that was racist on his part.
Yeah, and the part that I thought was very interesting, I think we didn't get that far, but if you kept listening, I think it was right after where we ended. And Andrew and Matt said something to the effect of, well, how do you ground your morals to Matt? And Matt said, well, how do you ground yours? He's like, well, I have the church to tell me what to do. And he's like, we have apostolic succession. So he basically referenced exactly that as his whole moral grounding. And so, and I would have loved to seen how that went in the debate, because this is the only, like, if I had to debate the ortho bros and I had to go against them, that's exactly what I would attack. Okay, let's nail down exactly what you believe and exactly why. And they'd say, oh, well, I can't go and, say every little belief that the church believes. It's like, well, if you're telling me that I have to accept your stuff, then let's cite the sources and let's go and see who these people were. And again, like, I know that sounds very tedious, but if everything that they say boils down to, well, my church says this.
Yeah, I hate that argument. I hate the apostolic succession thing that he's done before, or like basically, if it was a Catholic saying it because the Pope says or something like that. I hate that kind of shit. Like, that's just like, so your morals are grounded in like something another human being said. It's like, or and if like, because if you're going to grant that, like, if you're going to say like, okay, there is, so we're just going to take your worldview, there's no God. You then in that sense you ground and he's laid a good groundwork for it. His opening statement saying that it was about what helps human beings flourish, and that's what you should say your morals are grounded in. Anything that helps humanity flourish should be considered a moral, type of thing. That's what I mean. Maybe that's more pragmatic, but that's how I would do it anyway.
But it sounds like they had different ideas of what constitutes flourishing.
They probably did.
Like Andrew said, they were using different metrics.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. And yeah.
My understanding of the Orthodox, or even the Catholic or the religious view, is it's the authority of revelation. So if you believe in revelation, then you have a reason to believe that in the apostolic succession, because that's who the revelations are granted to.
And I have no problem with someone that wants to believe that, but from if you're debating an atheist type person like that, it's a very weak argument stance to come from, because it is a faith-based one that can't be really argued logically. There's no way to logically argue the revelation type of viewpoint for that. I guess.
Well, I think
people try.
I have seen some relatively successful by people like Posh, but it's very long process to actually go and get that deep into it. But, and again, I'm not saying that like he would win the debate based on that, but what I'm saying is like there are ways to get that, very deep into like, epistemology and stuff like that. And again, like I think there is a way to do so entertaining, but also like one thing he said at the beginning was interesting to me, which is that he's like, man, the energy is very low in here, right? And I was thinking like
But then it
that's
cut to the
actually very
crowd and totally proved that point. You see how bored the crowd looked? Everyone in the crowd looked like they were like half asleep.
well, they look very, very serious and like not. And I was thinking, I mentioned to Chris yesterday as well. Like, it would be nice to like have a party and a debate rather than like a debate and an after party after. You know what I mean? Like, get 3 free drinks for everyone and see how things go. Like that would be much more interesting as a debate platform, in my opinion. Like
Yeah.
A debate party. We can do one on here. BYOB.
No, but I'm saying like if we were to host a debate event like this, right? You know what I'm saying? Like I would hate to have like 30 people staring at me very dead-eyed as I'm like trying to make my statement. Like I would want some energy from the crowd or something.
Yeah, even when Andrew does his YouTube debates, he's drinking on beer or some kind of vodka or bourbon, whatever he drinks. Like he doesn't do his debates sober.
Yeah, and I think that's and I'm not saying that like we should have like raging alcoholics like some of these panels end up on, but what I'm saying is like some energy. Basically what I'm mostly interested in critiquing is like the format of such things like this, because it's like I'm not trash talking anybody involved. I'm just saying
You
like
can
overall
trash
it's
talk
like
on here. We don't mind.
it is rather well it is rather dry and kind of a boring format that a lot of these debate things kind of take, in my opinion. Like I was talking with Chris and some other people, like it'd be kind of cool to like have like this like rotating like almost like a relay race, or like like one person starts out and then it's kind of like tag team, like you can tap in and out and like get or like have a panel come in every 5 or 10 minutes to like make a couple make 15-second comment.
Have fun with it.
Let's do
I like to do it, and like I said, like when I mentioned before about doing like debate competitions, like the old like the collegiate type ones. I mean, I guess I forgot to mention but hype it up like it was a wrestling match type thing, like to give it like like some let's get ready to rumble kind of shit. Like make it like hype it up with like lights and everything like that, and really give it like a bunch of color and splash to it.
We should do it.
Yeah, but it takes money, man. It's just like
No, I mean just on this. We can do one on the stream easily.
I think we can, but like I mean, I think the fun of that is like doing it in a live setting. Is like guys actually having like the people come in and have to face each other. We can try to do it on the stream, but I mean, and we should try to do it on the stream. You're absolutely right. We should. I was just saying like the ultimate goal of that would definitely be to do a live type thing, because it just would be. It would have that. I don't know if you get the energy on stream, but I would like to try. I would love to try.
Yeah, I think we should practice trying to introduce elements like that, because I think it is very lacking, and I think that with a little bit of effort, like some like you said, like some intro, like set up who's the good guy, who's the bad guy, like who's the reigning champ, who's the defender, who's the what, you know what I mean, like make it more like you said, like wrestling, because I mean, why is wrestling so successful? Because it is very like there's drama, but it's still focused on the combat at the end of the day. You know what I mean? So it's
well, and plus I'd like to keep some of the formalized rules in place just to keep it from just turning into chaotic screaming. Just to make sure that there's basically instead of just a moderator, there is a referee that is going to actually get in there and keep the people from just like yelling over each other and that sort of thing, but still keep the energy up. Because just because somebody gets muted doesn't mean that it has to everyone just needs to be quiet. I mean, these kind of things can be done in funny ways. There's plenty of ways to handle trolls that aren't just kicking them. Sometimes, like I mean, if they're being really trolly, it just depends on like the level of troll they are. And honestly, if we're doing a competition like that and someone just goes full troll on, they'll just get disqualified. Just disqualify them, like you're out of the tournament. I think we'd really have to like go through and like really like work out all the possible rules and everything of it. But yeah, there's a lot of fun ways to do that kind of stuff.
It shouldn't take that many rules. Like just don't talk over. Let people talk. Don't talk over people. And the moderator can mute people whenever he wants. So as long as the moderator can mute, that's all.
I meant more rule. I guess more not really rules, but more like in terms of the aesthetic and style and how to pull it off. I guess I mean like to plan it out a little bit.
Actually, I would say that the lack of good moderation is probably the number one thing missing from most of these.
Yes, absolutely. I agree 135% and more. Yes. The good moderation is the absolute apotheosis of what's wrong with all panels and debates and things like that. It's just the absolute lack of courage on the part of the debater on moderators. The lack, I mean, because just because it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be like this solemn thing either. It can be funny even. You can do it. Everyone knows that when someone's being an asshole and someone's just boots them like that. I mean, it shouldn't be it shouldn't be a somber moment, And me and Jack talked about ways to kind of troll them back. I was saying, we could literally if they're going to talk over everyone, we could just backstage everyone and then go into a sub stream, a counter stream, where we could just literally where we just have an embed of the troll just going off on their little tangent, and we can just be making fun of them. And then we come back and we can share, and we can just do a play by play of where they went wrong. I mean, that's elaborate. That's an elaborate thing.
No, but you know what else came to mind is we all came from the older internet days, of chat rooms and stuff. I miss those kind of semi Wild West, but
yeah, me too.
Semi moderated, a limit on a chat room too. Is you know what I mean? I like that those old chat rooms had a limitation. I think you couldn't have more than 25 to 30 people.
Well, and then they upped it to 36 at some point, and then you had live moderation because they didn't have a way to automate it. So every now and then the moderators would go from room to room and patrol. So every now and then a mod would come in, and they always know who they are because they had it in their name. And then you would change your behavior when the mod was there. But we would fuck with the mods all the time.
No, exactly.
No, the mod would leave, and you'd go back to cursing each other out and talking raunchy and whatever you.
No, and I like how they had they when one room got full, they had to create other rooms, and then there would be competition to get into the best room with the best people. You know what I mean?
I think that's a good idea. I don't think unfortunately I don't think YouTube or any of them. I was looking at Rumble last night because that thing was on Rumble that John posted, right? The cults or whatever.
Oh.
John posted this live stream thing in
the secret society thing.
Yeah, about cults or secret societies. I didn't end up watching it. I watched 15 minutes and I heard nothing that it bored the shit out of me, so I turned it off. But because they're poking around Rumble, and look at their live tab. There's only 12 pages of live streams going at prime time hours last night. We should probably really look into streaming on Rumble. There's actually a lot of people.
The only problem is StreamYard doesn't connect to Rumble.
Oh, it doesn't? Damn.
No. Now there's something called custom something. So maybe there's a way to people that know tech can find a way to custom stream to Rumble.
Maybe I can figure it out. I mean, I figured out crazier things before. I'm going to look into it.
Well,
because on YouTube, it's hard enough to find the live stuff that is in the first place. But if you do find it, there's just
RTMP. So it's called custom RTMP, and you have to manually add the destination.
Okay, that seems like something that we could look into. I just think it would be. I just think that we could probably, because since there's only 12 pages and that was prime time hours. That was 8 o'clock and 8 p.m. Central, and there was only 12 pages of people doing live streams on there. And some of the ones in the top of it had thousands and thousands of viewers, and some of them had later ones. Okay, cool. Hey, John.
Well, and kind of let me ask you this: I don't know if Chris did, but I know Jeff, you did. What did you think of Flo's stream yesterday? Just a very basic impression of it.
I was hoping not to get into that. This is where I have to be diplomatic, and this is what I'm really bad at. Give me a little bit of time to figure out how to. I was surprised to see that was the topic of his stream.
What was the topic? Because I came in and tried to I think I changed.
It's something that happened on Jack's stream earlier today. I was trying to downplay it as much as possible because I was advocating for Flo's stream the other day, as an example of one of the better streams out there with the least drama, other than when Tommy's on it. But then when Tommy's not on, people are finding ways to make drama anyway over stupid shit. But it was some lady that went on Jack's stream and she quoted a Bible verse about how some people are blind because they can't see what's in the Gospels. And people took it as she was mocking non-Christians and calling them blind. And it carried over into Flowstream.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a subject. I just saw the name of the stream and I thought it was an interesting topic, and so that's why I went in and asked my couple questions. And I think that it was an interesting, like everybody's having interesting conversations, but I was just kind of it seemed
I don't know why her quoting the Bible verse had the effect that it did, but some people like took it really, made it a personal attack from her on the community of non-believers. Which Christians say that shit all the time. It just rolls off of me.
Oh, yeah, punch in the eye.
It just seemed like a really petty thing to make drama about. I didn't understand why it had the effect that it had.
Well, the resulting conversations were kind of interesting in a way, but then like I could just see it's like, for me, and again, like I'm not criticizing Flo because I actually like Flo. I like
Flo too. That's why I was surprised to see this side of him, but I don't know him that well.
Right, but I guess my overall thing was like I think with a little bit, and he was actually moderating, but I think like I here's kind of what I'm trying to get at, which is that I think the idea that we're all that a lot of us are streaming at the same time, and we can kind of panel hop and see where we fit in. I actually like that. I like the competition between streamers where it's like we're all hosting our own little room and we go and we panel hop to attract people to our little room or our little clique. Like even with like Machine Lives, like I like that Machine Lives is doing a panel, and then like if I get burnt out on there, I can go jump on yours and talk a little bit with you guys.
We'll be streaming tonight too, and so will he, so we can test it out.
No, and we can like drag people back and forth. Like I like that idea, like, in and out of different chats, and kind of like cultivating. You know what I mean? I kind of like that.
And I'll even show his stream on mine if he wants.
I mean, yeah. I do like that. I was even think that'd be a great name for the website thing we're talking about, like the calendar website. We should call it Panel Walker.
By the way, I was on Benton's stream today, and he was talking about the same exact thing, like creating a TV guide type thing or a website or something. And I'm like, did you get that idea from us, or are we all thinking about the same thing at the same time? He was describing the exact same thing that we were describing. I don't talk to Benton at all. I barely know who he is.
And here we go. And now we have a competition. Who's going to do it first and do it best?
Well, I've kind of pulled off on doing it after what I see on these streams. I'm realizing this is not. If y'all want to do it, I'll support it. But I'm looking for something different or more specific.
Well,
I like them, but I don't know that I want to.
Well, here's the thing.
It's hard for me to form community with what I saw last night and with people like Tommy, and Tommy was on like 3 different streams just this morning.
Well, here's the idea,
giving him center stage.
But Chris has some ideas to do the more live events, and I like that idea for one reason, and here's the reason why. I'm interested to attract people who are not currently addicted to this kind of stuff. I want to talk to the average person who doesn't get the opportunity to discuss these things in real life, and who might be intrigued to say, hey, I've never done this before. And I don't want them to be scared away by these kind of people like you're talking about, right? Like, I think offering a safe environment for people who are just normal people to be
every club has a bouncer, Every club has bouncers.
Well, none of that shit happens here. Do y'all see me letting that go on here? Joshua Jones is as close as it comes.
No, I know, but I'm saying I'm saying there's just nothing wrong with it. Like any social type place, you have bouncers. You have places that the people that are there to keep out disruptive people. That's just normal. It's a normal thing. It's not, there's nothing out of the ordinary about it. I don't understand why people think it is.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying as well. Like I'm saying like I think that having levels of moderation. Like I like machine style, but what I'm saying is that should be like the end of the road, and then we have to build up a bridge on the way back to like normies is kind of what I'm saying. Like I want to get normal people's impressions about these major topics. Like that's what I want to get, you know. I think that would be very fascinating. Like let's put, you know, me, a conspiracy theorist, with like the normal people and like get their
Yeah. Well, I'm very experimental. I'm willing to try.
I mean, I'm always. I just had the. I kind of realized just a minute ago, actually. Oh yeah, John said every club is a bouncer. Yeah. I realized kind of like almost what I'm thinking right now. If I can't do my big live like open source studio thing, I'm kind of thinking almost like creating something maybe along the lines of a record label, but for streamers. You know?
No,
I
that's kind of it. That in general principle, that's kind of what I'm referring to. Is like
yeah.
promotion, but also like helping people play with different formats that fit them best. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like
basically working with kind of a producer. You'd be able to work with kind of. We'd have like some people that could do kind of help to like shape the stream into something that you know it needs to be to shape it in the right modes. Maybe help out early, like maybe even like just to help teach editing type things. Help out just to like get them like off the ground, and in exchange for like you know like with your part of our label and like you know we have a collaborative profit sharing type of thing. I don't want it now. I don't want to own people's shit. I don't want to be like a predatory record label. Have you ever seen the movie 24 Hour Party, people? Was it about factory records? You remember like his
I don't remember it, but I did see it.
There's a part in it where like when he makes the first contract, there's only one contract for all the bands on Factory Records, and he writes it in his own blood. And he says it says the label owns nothing, the artist owns everything, and so fuck off. And then they just frame that and put it on his wall. He writes it in his own blood. And like then whenever somebody comes in and try to buy the label later on, yeah, they have to admit that they don't actually own anything. And he says, but let it be on my gravestone. It will say that I never sold out. You know, I don't know if I want to go that far. I don't know if I go that far because that ultimately led to Factory Records' downfall. But I like the punk ethos of that. I think is amazing. You know, I think there's a way to do this where we can support you know new and upcoming streamers. That way we give them like the support in terms of like you know getting viewers and eyes on them. You know, letting them helping them find their niche, helping them find their voice, and you know, and getting like and then we could actually organize streamer tours where we could partner with musicians and bands and have like you know a tour that goes out that has like a band and like you know a couple of and like a little like streamer type show type thing that goes along with it. And
I've been wanting to take this on the road.
Right, do like a multimedia show that could have comedy and like maybe a comedy, a band, and like some sort of like open panel type debate thing where people can come up and talk and do that sort of thing, interact with the crowd. I think the world is ready for that right now. I really do. People want to go live.
Comedy clubs have basically died, and I think for good reason because and like I know some people who do comedy and stuff, and like. You know, I think that format is just kind of dead. I mean, at least in my opinion, it's not really engaging.
They're doing well here in Dallas. They're doing well, and Joe Rogan's new one in Austin apparently is doing very well. But that's I haven't been to it.
But what I'm saying is, like, I think people are ready for interactive stuff.
Yeah,
you know, like not like how many people are really like. I mean, how many people are really like super excited? Like, oh, I want to go see Joe Rogan tell some jokes. I mean. Get it, but I think that if you have like an interactive thing where like the audience is like participating and it's screaming out and they can send it to their family and friends and say, hey, I'm on this thing, you can watch me on YouTube, like you know what I mean, like that would be cool, you know.
Yeah, I was thinking about that the other day too, of like I'm not a capitalist. I don't know how to monetize. I don't think in terms of money, but if somebody knew how to tap into the potential of this and help monetize it, like a manager or producer or something, I would be open to that.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was just saying this to me and Jack have been messaging on Discord. I said this earlier today. I said like to do what I'm thinking, we have to be capitalist as fuck, and I'm not good at it either. I'm not good at asking
we need to
for
find
money.
us a good cat. Joshua Jones.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yes, Joshua Jones, and weirdly enough, this has been on my mind this last 2 weeks, the director that I worked with, that I made the short film, I think you've both seen now, Quarter 38. Did you guys watch it? The short film I sent both of you.
Yeah, I watched it when you sent it to me.
Yeah, I mean, it was really well made, right? He made that for $0. I wrote it. He made it for $0. He's very talented. And I don't know what he's been doing the last 5 years, but I thought he was dead. I hadn't heard this guy, and he messaged me out of the blue last night. Messaged me out of the blue, and he was like, and I was just like, holy shit, something's happening. Because I've been trying to get a hold of this guy, literally. Like I have tried multiple times. And I don't mean like 3 or 4. I mean probably in excess of 100 times I've tried to message this guy in the last 5 years just to find out if he was breathing still or not. And I've got nothing from him until yesterday. And I'm just like, I don't know. I know, like, it's crazy to believe in signs and shit like that, but I can't deny it. I'm a crazy mystic person. I do think that this was like a sign. This was like something that the universe is aligning something. We like the fact that you just said that somebody else thinking about the same type thing about there's because like the streaming network thing started out back when YouTube's early days, like with places like Machinima and like ad network type things, and they were all really predatory, and they all took advantage of their talent, and really fucked over a lot of people to the point where no one wanted to do them anymore. But I think we can revolutionize that idea and make something that's artist focused, and actually, and I'm not trying to make a collective. I want to make a collaborative. You know what I mean? You know what the difference is? Yeah. I don't want us to be a collective. I want us to be. Oh, John, yes, my short film is not. It's on Vimeo. I'll send you the link, John. I think I sent it to you before, but I'll send it to you.
You can put it in the chat if you want, because we talked about even screening it one day.
I have to find. Yeah, you're totally welcome to. It has. I don't think there's a single. It's on the only one the one that's on YouTube is there, but I mean it's it's very how can I explain this? It's dubbed in Russian. There's like a Russian voice that it's because it wasn't the one that Thomas put up. Thomas put his up on Vimeo because the quality is much better. So I'll put the link up to that in chat right now. Is there a short? Yeah, here we go. A short link. I didn't want to use like the long ass Vimeo link.
But didn't Thomas get famous or like for net streaming or net streaming music?
Oh yeah, Thomas. Weirdly enough, like Thomas is like the way he got the money to start making movies is he was one of the people that invented internet radio a long time ago, and he sold it to MTV. He was one of the first people ever. It's kind of funny. He kind of helped invent live streaming. Now that I think about that, isn't that funny?
Hey, Tom Green invented that. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just saying, like the I can't remember what it was called, what the program was called now, but like the platform, the technology that MTV bought when they first started like the dial-up days when they first started trying to like embed music streams onto their website and like the old school almost GeoCities looking MTV website. That was Thomas and his two partners' technology that they bought.
Jet One or
I can't remember what it was.
Do you guys remember Tom Green back in the day?
I used to like Tom Green.
I still like Tom Green. I think Tom Green's one of the. Yeah, I know. So you were watching his podcast there. I haven't seen his podcast in a while, but I used to watch his show that he used to have on he had weird cable for a while, and he used to have a lot of interesting people on there and stuff. Like he's just a really intelligent. He can rap like a motherfucker.
Yeah, he's actually very multi.
Is he Canadian? Isn't he Canadian?
Yeah, he is.
He busted out freestyle rap one day on his show, and I was like, holy shit, he's good. Not just like oh, he can rap for a white guy. Like he's like fucking he's like Eminem good. Like damn, you know.
And that's not very fun. When you fall down to hurt your bum. I like to put my. There you go.
I mean, I still think Freddy Got Fingered is one of the most brilliant things ever made because it's like most.
I agree. I think that movie is extremely underrated. I love that movie. It's like breaking the fourth wall the entire time. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's anti-comedy. It's an anti-comedy gross. The way other people described it, it was like he took the idea of the gross out comedy, which is all that was coming out at the time, and he decided to break it. He pushed it as far as anyone could push it, and it in true to form, it did kill the gross out comedy. Gross comedies disappeared after that. Red Letter Media did a great episode about it, where they talked about how like what it seems like to them is like he didn't really want. Apparently, there were stories that he didn't even really want to do the movie. He kind of got roped into it from just because of his show, and it was just he was just supposed to star in it, but the director and him had a falling out. And then the studio's like, well, why don't you direct it? You've directed most of your shows and everything. And he was like, and he didn't really want to do it, but he did it kind of begrudgingly, and that's the reason it came out the way it did. He was like, fine, if you're going to give me this money and make me direct this movie, then this is what you're going to get. It's kind of the most punk rock thing you could do.
Yeah, it's a punk rock thing. Exactly.
Anyway, but yeah, so like I mean, I feel like there's a lot of synchronicity going on right now amongst all of the. I don't know, and like everybody.
Well, that's what the Crucible does. They have this whole little production team that puts it on and monetizes it and creates the graphics and promotes it and keeps the community going.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and the thing is, you have to do everything on an extreme budget to get started. But the way I'm thinking is like, I'm not saying that in a greedy way, but we have to do something that's investment and advertiser friendly to some degree, because obviously
I don't know if I want to. Something in me resists that. But like I said, I'm the worst person for this because I'm not anti-capitalist. I would love to.
I have no problem with advertising.
How to live within it. I just haven't been able to do it yet. I don't think in terms of money. I hate money.
I do too. Believe me, and Lindsay hates it about me because I'm good with money. I've been very successful as a manager of many places, but I'm not really a big money person. I don't focus on money very much, and that's the reason why I'm really bad at getting it. But I think I've managed it fairly well. But the thing is that I have no issue with advertising as long as we don't do the stupid ad reads. I hate every YouTuber that like starts out like talking about something and then does like slide.
Oh, I'm not doing product placement. I hate those too. Or they'll slip it in like in the middle of their video. They'll suddenly start going.
Just like here, just like, and we'll be right back after this commercial, and then you do the commercial and you come back from that's fine. I have no issue.
I'm not doing any of those fake.
Well, mostly what I'm saying is we can't have people coming up and saying F bombs and N bombs.
Well, yeah, but that's the problem. I'm not willing to make the compromise you have to make to take ad money. I want to keep the F bombs and all that. I don't want my speech.
No. I don't mean the FUCK. I mean the FA.
Yeah, no, and that's fine. That's fine.
We can also faggot.
You
can say faggot.
Well, look, what I'm.
My Twitter name used to be Satanic Faggot. That was my
no, I'm not
name.
saying like that. What I'm saying like
I don't want people telling me I can't say my own.
No, I get it. No, what I'm saying is there's a difference between saying it like that and saying it like people coming and attacking people like in a borderline like
critical, whatever they're called, like the.
That did, but Machine says it all the time on his show. That didn't bother me at all. When him and Talibo go at it, I'm not saying don't faggots all the time.
Yeah, I'm not having a problem with that either. I'm saying like when these other guys are coming in and like trying to like bait people to say stuff that's threatening and stuff like that.
So far, those people are not on my stream. Like I'm not worried about it on my stream because I know how to take care of it when it shows up.
Yeah,
but if we're talking about a larger network, I can't vouch for what other streamers might do.
And
even Tommy alone, like people like Tommy, they're the ones that are going to be doing that. That's why I think if you manage your trolls from the beginning, you minimize the chance of it happening.
But it's funny, like whenever I talk to Tommy, like he's pretty easy to talk to for me. But I guess most people when they talk to him, he just becomes
have you seen some of the videos when he's messed up or?
Yeah,
I don't think he's on. I don't get the impression he's on meth currently. I mean, he could be. I don't get that impression, but I guess it's possible. He's got a lot of energy.
The videos I've seen, he's on something.
Let me tell you some of the connections I have that I could reach out to that might be interested in doing something like this, because I think the whole world, everybody's in media right now, is probably doing something close or associated with this at this point. Okay, I have a very tenuous, not a very deep one, but I do have the ability to reach out to Dose One. I have spoken to him. I've been to a couple. I've spoken to him at length at a couple of shows, and Lindsay, my wife, she used to do some promotion for him on Twitter and stuff like that. Yes, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. I'm saying I do have and I know you know who Dose One is, Jack, right?
Say that again.
Well,
Dose One, Anticon Records.
hey, real quick though, what do you want to say him publicly on stream, or is this something?
Yeah, maybe don't say it on
keep
stream.
to ourselves for now and talk about.
Okay, I mean, again, I don't think. I mean, it's just
because I don't want to give other people a competitive edge.
I agree. Don't give away the bacon.
It was just they're just people like I might be able to get in contact with. It wasn't a big deal. That's fine. I'll save it.
Don't feed the trolls info.
Yeah, like
I know, but it's pretty much just like those. I have a few people that I have in my days of doing music stuff and stuff like that. I just know people that even I don't know them that well personally, I know them just enough that I think that if I reached out to them, that I have friends. I'm actually friends with them on Facebook. Even I'm actual friends with them on Facebook, where I could actually send them a direct message. That I may not know that well, but like that if I'm pretty sure if I reached out to them with something interesting, they'd probably message back. So
yeah, with something interesting. I know people too, but I would have to have something like an actual business plan or something very concrete for them to even think about.
And I'm not talking about to get them to invest either. I'm talking about to get them to maybe come on as like a potential partner or something, so that we could show that when we if we did go to investors, we could say that like we have these people that are interested in possibly being a part of it, and like that, and they would that bolsters that's how you get a movie made. If you get a star attached to the script, then you can pretty much get money behind it.
I am not selling out, and I am not changing a single thing that you already see me doing on here. So those are my red lines. If anybody gets involved and asks me to do either of those two things,
come on,
no.
Jeff. We're going to give you this $10 million contract, but you just have to be straight and get married. I'm just joking.
I wouldn't want any other Jeff besides gay Satanist Jeff. I really wouldn't. So I mean, I couldn't even.
No other Jeff.
Yeah, I wouldn't want a Jeff. I wouldn't want Jeff to be anything but the person he is. And if he was like, that's one of those things like we're like, I never understand that when labels like they sign like an artist or something like that, and then they want to change everything about them that made them unique in the first place. Like, why would you do that? The thing that people like about this person is this, and then you want to change that. It doesn't make sense. Like, no, I mean, like, they're for it to be advertiser friendly. I'm not even know if I'm really worried about being advertiser friendly in the sense of like, I don't know. We'll have to look into that a lot. We'll have to see what advertisers, because I think advertisers are getting a lot less, as long as it's not like, like, I mean, like, look at the recent advertiser backlashes we have. We had like people like there's the big conservative backlash against Dylan Mulvaney, and that definitely did hurt Budweiser somewhat. But now they just became the official sponsor of the UFC, so I think they're doing fine.
Well, I always thought that was an interesting thing because, like, I personally feel that was done. I mean, I think they knew that they were going to get some sort of backlash. Obviously,
yeah.
I mean,
I don't think they expected to lose $2.2 billion.
Well, they fired the lady that came up with the plan.
Good.
Yeah. Well, she was an idiot anyway. Did you ever see the interview with her? She absolutely wasn't. That was part of the backlash, is her interview about the commercial in the first place. She seemed like your average ditzy California, like kind of like just like, I don't know, like I just think it'd be like, and it's just like she seemed like such a ditz. I can't believe that she was like hired as a corporate executive of any kind. That was just bizarre. But then
a lot of that woke stuff, they could do it in a way where it's actually like more convincing. You know what I mean? That's what I find so weird about a lot of the woke stuff. Like, they could do it in a way where it wasn't like, well, F you if you're white and straight and male. It's like they could just like show Dylan Mulvaney hanging out with like a big, strong UFC star or something. You know what I mean? Or something. I'm just saying,
yeah,
like,
there's ways to do it.
They don't. I don't know if they don't or they can't. But there's just something about white male, whatever, that they absolutely will not accommodate themselves to. They do the same thing with Republicans.
Well, and it has nothing to do with money, obviously. I mean, like, there can't. Well, I mean, it
no,
does.
I think it's psychological or sociological.
I know there are plenty of advertisers out there that they are the standard ones. You got your Manscapes, you got your Helix mattresses, the ones that have been supporting podcasts and YouTube streams, Raycon, stuff like that apparently have no issue with what they put their advertisements on. Those are the ones that usually want ad reads, and I'm against that. But I'm saying that there are advertisers out there, but I think we could almost look at it as something bigger than that, even just because of the way that I'm even thinking we could maybe partner with a streaming thing like Rumble or Kick. If we could get a partnership with them where we could
I think before we do any of this, we have to build up viewers. No one's going to look at our little streams with a few hundred. We have a very small amount, but the other streams we're on have a few hundred viewers here and there. Some have over 1,000.
Yeah.
You need to bring
no numbers that are going to draw anybody big.
No, I know. I mean, this is just brainstorming. Did you see Paul's stream last night? He was brainstorming with counterpoint on.
I saw the end of it. I didn't get to watch. I liked. I wanted to. I think I agree with some of his positions. The guy counterpoints. Something about him just rubbed me wrong. Maybe it was
rubbed me wrong.
He was too. He was too like the people up here. Maybe it's my own bias.
What was the subject? I didn't catch the.
They were talking about a potential centrist political platform. They were brainstorming a centrist political platform. That's what they were doing.
Well, support for Israel should definitely be, or at least not support for Palestine and anti-Israel. I think.
Well, Counterpoints was pro-Israel, and Paul was, of course, as usual, pro.
Most intelligent people are, if they're not consuming propaganda.
I don't know. In terms of the stuff he was saying, I almost like Counterpoints. I actually thought Counterpoints more than Paul on the stream last night.
Yeah, I do too. I just like Paul's personality better.
Yeah.
What was his general?
Paul's the person I would want to hang out with and have a beer with.
What was his general point on about why to support Israel? Just out of curiosity.
It was more. He said typically he had no moral prescriptions, only practical or pragmatic ones, and he saw supporting Israel ultimately makes more sense to the U.S. and in terms of just as from a geopolitical standpoint, more or less. I mean, there was more.
Why would you support genocidal terrorism over a liberal democracy? What in what self-interest is it in the U.S. to support Muslim terrorism?
I don't think that most people supporting Palestine think that they're supporting literal terrorism. I know that
they're just ignorant. They are willfully ignorant because you can read the Hamas charter and clear all of that up very unambiguously.
So basically what you're saying is the best thing to do would just be and again, I'm not trying to be provocative. I'm saying the only thing I could think that you would see as a solution is all Islamists who live in Palestine, 2 million of them, must be removed and moved somewhere else, and then Israel can just take that and then.
How did you get that out of anything I said?
But Paul's been suggesting that very thing for Israel. He's been saying we should take all of everybody in Israel and bring them to the United States.
Oh, I don't know how I never said anything remotely like that. I've been talking about a 3-state solution forever.
Oh, okay. So what is it? I never heard of a 3-state solution. What is
Gaza, West Bank, Israel.
I said that.
But isn't that isn't Gaza already a state as it is? So
it's not though. That's what Joshua Jones cleared that up for us. I had no idea about that. Gaza's not a state. It's not a country. It's not even really. It's technically supposed to be a territory of Egypt, but Egypt has renounced all ownership over it.
And Egypt's blockading them just as much as Israel. Nobody says a peep.
Oh, it's basically it's basically like a little gulag ghetto thing or something, kind of.
I mean, you could call it that, but
is it a territory? What's the?
I don't know. That's why I'm asking. I literally don't know. So I'm curious.
I mean, it doesn't belong to anyone. It's just like this independent, non. I mean, technically, Hamas is their government. Which I mean, the fact they elected Hamas at all. I know people say well, what were their choices? But it is very similar. As if the government.
It's a Palestinian territory.
if the United States elected the KKK to be the political leader
Well,
of the United States, it's very similar to that. I mean,
well,
it's
some people would argue that it doesn't matter who you vote for in America either, because pretty much you get a uniparty. So I mean,
I agree, but if you elected the KKK,
I
that
don't
would
know.
be pretty explicitly.
I see differences in the policies of each party that would
well,
make me vote for
what
one
they
or
say
the other.
Some.
is
I see
arguably.
some, but I think Republicans and Democrats are mostly the same. But they both like their wars. They both like money too much.
Sure, and I'm sorry to and I'm sorry if I misrepresented what you're saying, Jeff, because I'm really not trying to do that, but I'm just thinking like, how. Let's assume that there could be a 3-state solution, quote unquote. I just don't know if that's really going to end it if there's outside influences anyways.
It's only going to end it if the Palestinians make their peace with it and learn to accept it. They are the ones that refuse consistently over and over and over
But
to
aren't
have
you?
it.
But aren't
They
you?
do not want Israel there. That's why I say read the charter.
But isn't Satan the patron saint of underdogs? I mean, wouldn't you want the underdogs to, fight against the?
No, that's the mistake the woke are making. They support underdogs just because they're underdogs. I don't think being just the status of being like Hitler could have been an underdog. I don't think just the status of being underdog gets you automatically support from people who supports underdogs. Plus, I don't see them as the underdog. They've been the aggressor consistently from the start. They started 2 wars with Israel. They were attacking them when they started to legitimately settle there. They were aggressing against them. I don't see them as the underdog. And if I was consistent about that, I would be supporting the Native Americans over the U.S., which I don't. I like the U.S. I'm glad it's here.
Or Britain, like Britain has plenty of that was you see Douglas Murray talking trigonometry the other day.
No,
as an interview that came out, like he made some points that he was going a lot harder than I would have, but he literally was saying he wanted every Hamas supporter in the UK deported. He was going hard, man. He was like mad. Dude was pissed. I'd never seen Douglas Murray's usually very like British and dry and very like very like mannered, and he was still British and calm, but like you could see like the anger in his eyes.
I see it like BLM. Like they're just really deluded. They're not like high.
Should we send all BLM back to Africa or something?
No.
I'm joking. I'm just being provocative.
Because they didn't come from Africa.
That would be funny
from here in the U.S.
That would be funny to see them all get over there. Like we say, like you guys, you hate America so much, we're going to offer every single Black American a free ticket to Africa.
All to Portland.
We'll give you reparations and a plane ticket.
Yeah, we'll give you the dollar equivalent back then of $40 and a 40 acres and a mule, which I don't know isn't really worth that much anymore. And we'll give them a couple $1,000s and a free plane ticket to Africa and see how long they last. We should make a reality show out of it. It would be kind of like Battle Royale, but
no, and then they do actually I think that would be an interesting solution, like do reality show like competitions for like real world problems where you like send representatives, like almost like a gladiatorial, not like literally gladiatorial, but you know what I'm saying, like something like that.
We'll just see like how well they do whenever they meet whatever the version of Idi Amin is over there now. I think he's dead, right? But
no,
they get over there
and like I kind of think that's what a lot of the last few years have been about, honestly. It's like I almost feel like they're letting people do social experiments with all these like social movements, you know what I mean? Like I think that's kind of what we're I hate to say this, but this is kind of my impression of what I see, like with the Chad and like the BLM and all these different movements, and even the Palestinian thing is like it's almost like they're like, okay, let's just see where they take it. Like let's see how far they really want to take it. Like okay, you don't want police in your neighborhood, let's just remove them for a while and see how it goes. Like I don't know. That's kind of the impression that I get.
No, I do think that's what happened with Chaz. At first, I mean, I don't know. Like I think it was actually done out of cowardice, to be honest. But at the same time, like there's this part of me that wants to believe that like. I mean, if it weren't the fact that the mayor and everybody over there were such leftoids and everything, that I don't think they were smart enough to do that. But I would have loved it if it had been just like, it's been like, this is really what you guys, are you sure you guys want this? All right, here you go. No more services. No more like you guys. You're on your own. Good luck out there being part of like your own little like micro country. How are you going to trade with the
That's kind
US?
of what they did. They pretty much left him alone.
Yeah, they did until they all imploded and like they started until warlords started taking over and it became like they turned into their own little apartheid state and it was ridiculous. I mean, it's got to be one of the biggest social experiment disasters of all time. And
Oh, it was
almost
a shithole. I walked by it. I didn't want to go in, but
no, you
I
of
stood on
course.
the
I
edge
don't
of
know.
it and looked in.
I'm telling you, short
It looked
taco.
like homeless people taking over a park. That's exactly what it looked like.
Yeah, well, Short Photo Taco did this 3-hour deep dive on it. He went through the entire history of Chaz from day one all the way to the end of it, and used all like the archival video footage there was from inside of it. And it's really amazing. It gives you the whole story, and he does a really great, thorough job of it. And you see the way it all breaks down, man. It's just like it's both heartbreaking and hilarious to see like how sad and deluded these people were. Like the first people, the leadership constantly changing. And like at first, basically the first leadership of it was just like basically got ousted because they got canceled for being like for saying something wrong to their girlfriend. It was like a lesbian woman, and she said something that hurt her girlfriend's feelings, and like the girlfriend basically canceled her, and so she had to quit. And then like the next person people that came in were like these gangsters that were just like these little like I mean they were like Mexican and black gangster types, and they came in with and started bringing guns in and started like patrolling everything until like shooting started happening, and then food wasn't getting in, and then of course they wouldn't allow police in there whenever there was any issue the police could help. So whenever they called an ambulance, the ambulance said like we were told like we're not allowed to go in there. So no one went.
Sounds like Woktopia to me. Sounds pretty good.
It would be an amazing movie that would never get made. I mean, see that's the kind of thing that I would love to make, like with a studio type thing, like make like a kind of like a little fictionalized version of that, and just like and
why do the fictionalized version? Well, we can just go live it for real, and then we can film it. That would
just to avoid the just avoid getting sued. Just fictionalize it just enough so that you can so you don't.
Well, how
have
would
to.
you if you're living it? You know, like you're just.
Oh, you mean we go create one ourselves and document it? Yeah. Yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to.
cheaper production costs, you know.
It is, but I'm a writer, so like that takes my part out of it. So like,
no, we could do like Blair Witch style. You know what I mean? Like semi.
It would be very much a horror film. That is true. That is true, and it probably would end with a bunch of people in an abandoned building standing in a corner, just like piss. But they'd be pissing instead of it being like them about to die. They'd just be pissing in a corner. That'd be the last shot of the movie.
Yes. I'm a production designer. I could have that happen.
I mean, but I don't know why it didn't occur. Like the more I think about that too, like when I said that a minute ago, I just kind of off the top of my head. But like I really like the idea of like trying to start things kind of as like doing like I said like a label for streamers, like because a label isn't just about like helping with production costs or helping get an album out or helping plan tours. It's also because like whenever it legitimizes that artist, it gives them like a legitimacy they didn't have before in the eyes of the public, so if like I know you have to build that label up, but like if it's like there is no such thing like that. There's no
doesn't label. Like Daily Wire do that? And Joe is about to start that IDW thing. Maybe
I would like to collaborate with him. Yeah. I don't want to. I really
because
don't want to.
The centrists need their version of the Daily Wire or their version of BreadTube.
I kind of want ours to be a little bit less like I mean, yes, we're centrist, but I kind of want ours to be more a little bit.
Well, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, a lot of these channels we hang out on are not. I don't think they're necessarily centrist.
Yeah, they're not. I think we're more, but we're more all over the political spectrum. I mean, like they're centrist only in the sense that
I want to build something more along the lines of the IDW principles. That's where my heart lies. More
a little bit more anarchic, but not quite anarchy. You know what I mean?
I like secular human. I want something rational, intelligent, search for truth, all the principles that I looked at today.
Sure, yeah.
Like the conversations I have with Anton and John and Paul and sometimes Joshua and what's the name? Steve that comes on here. Shade Tree Intellectual. Those are the types I'm looking for that can have those types of conversations. That's not what shows up on these streams, although they do have very interesting conversations.
I think there's room as long as the trolls get get thoroughly like pushed out, and when they appear, as long as like we whack-a-mole the whole trolls down, I think there's room for more outside the box type things like TML and stuff like that. I don't think
that's what we're gonna have to see, because I don't know how much my people are gonna mesh with those people.
Yeah, but just because like they're on the network doesn't mean that everything if you have a music label, you can have like a punk band on there that that you might have mostly dance.
Well, I guess then I want a sub label then with just
sure, yeah, that's a good idea.
Conversation.
Like you can do sub labels as well. You can do kind of like sub type things that way. I mean, it's kind of just categories at that point. It's just like these are like the more you have your more political type.
Most people are not going to want to be on a label with Illumitami. I'm telling you right now, I don't even want to.
I don't want Illumitami anywhere on it. I don't want Illumitami.
But he's going to. If we include half the channels we're even talking about, that's going to include him.
No, it's not, because I'm going to make sure, because he's going to be persona non grata. He's going to be one of the.
But you can't make him persona non grata from all these other people's streams.
Sure, if they want to be part of if they want to be part of the network, they can.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If we make that a requirement, none of the people we were talking about including are going to be able to be included. So we're going to have to start fresh with a whole new batch of streamers.
I
would like it to be more the IDW types.
You really think that TML and Flow State would if they had a good opportunity to really grow and really grow?
I have not. There's nothing I've seen that convinces me that any of those people are going to modulate their current streaming style.
Okay,
like facilitation style.
You might be right. I feel like with a good enough offer on the table, I feel like.
And I wouldn't want to do that. I would not want to incentivize people if that's what their vision for their stream. I don't want to come along and interfere with that.
I don't think it is their vision for their stream. I don't think a lot of people have a vision for their stream. I think that's part of the problem. I don't think they have direction.
I don't know. I take it for granted that Machine and Flow and all those other people are doing what they want to do with their streams.
I think Machine is.
It's not for me to question the direction they take their streams any more than I wouldn't list a single person that tried to question mine.
Okay, well, I mean, in that case, I mean, then they wouldn't. I wouldn't be able to. I would not be able to, in good mind, if such a thing was even. It's not. This is a fictional thing right now. It's all hypothetical. But if such a hypothetical thing were to exist, then yes, if I was to talk to let's say TML. And I was like, look, but this is like the thing, like the TBEs, like they have to be like completely that kind of thing has to be squashed. No, we can't have disruptive people like that because we don't want them in the community as is. We don't want that to infect the rest of the thing. And if they were like, no, I'd rather if they choose TBE and Illumitami over the network,
they already are.
But there is no formal network right now.
My interest in this from the start is the potential for community that I keep seeing over and over on these streams.
Yeah.
And they're already not seeing the same thing I'm seeing with community, or they wouldn't be having these people on in the first place.
Well, sometimes it takes leadership to actually present.
Well, they're not going to listen to me. I've said before. I've said many times why I don't think it's good to have these people on their streams, but they're not going to listen. They're not going to stop having Tommy on just because Jeff thinks it would make a better community.
Well, maybe they'll listen to me. I don't know. I mean, I'll try. I'm going to try.
Like I showed you that chart yesterday of the different levels of self-determination. All that. None of them are. I see potential for community in those higher regions, and there's people on these streams that I think are trying to reach in that direction. But it's the rest of the I don't think all the other streamers are operating off of that diagram like I am.
Well, I agree. I mean, I doubt many of them have seen that diagram. I think we should share that around a little bit and also it takes a little bit of explain. I had to really kind of study that thing. With the ones you sent me, it took me a minute to actually understand it, even what it was talking about, because it's a little scattered. But I got it after I really looked over it a little bit. because like two of them are kind of like labeled the same thing, and I wasn't sure if they were two different versions of the same one, but I kind of got it after a minute.
One is individual, one is groups and or programs, and then one is community at the community level.
I finally figured that out, but like it just took me a little while of like studying it. But like I think that if more people kind of understood those principles and everything like that, that would be a good thing. It just takes some outreach and some talking to people, though. I think that most of these people are pretty rational actors, though. I don't think most of these people in these communities
that we're watching different streams. I'm not saying they're not rational, but even being rational actors, nothing's stopping them from platforming the trolls. That's part of their rationality. Like they're in their mind, they have reasons why they keep bringing these people on, or they wouldn't be doing it.
Right. Well, because they have no reason not to right now, too. It brings in right now, like having Illumitami on for some reason brings more viewers in. So
I don't even know if it's viewer related. Like, here's Cascadian.
Oh, hey everyone.
Hey, what's up, man?
Oh, I'm doing okay. I had like a horrible case of like heartburn or just like burning throat last night, and it's still bothering me today.
Oh, I get that all the time. I hate
Is it reflux?
I feel you 100%.
I feel like it was what I ate last night that kind of did it to me.
What did you eat?
Oh, I got like some spicy chicken.
Was it Popeyes?
Chicken strips from Safeway, and I think that's probably what did it. If I had 2 of them, I probably would have been okay, but I had 4, and that was probably the big mistake. Yeah, so
that happens to me all the time with anything spicy. So
yeah, that's good. And I'm coming off a day where I'm coming off a night where I barely slept. So if I seem a little like slow on it, like with the words, I mean that's kind of like my explanation for that. At least
you're good, man. You're good.
Well, there was a stream you were doing where TCPS was talking, and it caught my interest. I'm like, oh man, that sucks that I didn't get the chance to jump on that, because when you guys were talking about,
I kept thinking you're gonna show up in that one too. Yeah.
Well, I was just like super duper busy organizing my music and doing other stuff, so I haven't really had time to like jump on anyone's live streams this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What was super interesting about it? Like
it's just like when you were all talking about, there was some other subject I forgot about, but the one I do remember is when you were talking about music. You brought up that like a lot of these popular songs have like 4 or 5 songwriters.
Yeah.
Which I think is absolutely insane, because when you look at like classical composers, rock musicians, and some of these other people, where their songs were composed by just one person, it really boggles my mind that you would need that many people to make a pop song.
And Jeff is right. Jeff made the point that a lot of that is due to legal clearance issues, like because they might use like a line that's reminiscent of a line or a sample from something. They build samples out of all sorts, and they legally clear every tiny little sample and everything. So that has something to do with it, because like I know like Father John Misty is listed as like a contributor on like 2 or 3 Beyonce tracks, and it's literally just because that she said some line that's similar to some line he wrote in their song, and therefore like they gave him they cleared it with legal on it. But yeah, there are tons of songs out there that literally are written by multiple people. Just like movies, just like when you see a movie and like you look at the writing credits, and it's got like first it'll start with like 2 writers, then it continues to the next credit thing, and there's 2 more and 2 more. It's like 6 or 7 writers on the same thing. That's because one person wrote a version of the script, and somebody else came and did a revision, and another revision, another revision. And that's what usually happens with the songs too. Like one person writes the song originally, but then all the other people come in and write revisions to the song to try to make it better or more commercial or whatever. That's usually what happens.
The thing. It's like that makes sense with a movie, because a script will get rejected and the studio, sticks their neck where it really doesn't belong sometimes. Sometimes script revisions are good, but
yeah.
Not always, because usually really crappy movies have tons of script revisions.
Yeah. Yeah, because the studio's trying to fix it with that. But that's what happens with pop music a lot of times too. I mean, a lot of times a song might have originally been, I mean, even like, let's say, Taylor Swift really writes all of her own music. But my understanding is that she does typically come into the studio with an original idea of hers, like some basic thing. But the song that you hear is fleshed out by a team of producers and everything else like that aren't always in some cases are, some cases not, are listed as co-songwriters. So like no matter who it is these days, if it's in pop music, they're so obsessed with trying to make sure it's the most accessible and most that has the most appeal to everyone. They bring in all these extra people. Like there are so many songs that people like. What's it, Ed Sheeran or what's the guy that does Bruno Mars? Like those guys are credited on so many songs just because they were brought in as like a consultant. Like at the end, like add like one little like touch here or there, and they're given a songwriter credit for that. So I mean, it's the music world like that is a weird, complicated thing like that. I must admit,
it's just funny because even when you look at a songwriting team like Elton John and Bernie Taupin, I mean, that produced like much better music than what a lot of these, pop producers produce. I mean, like, sure, you get people like Max Martin who produced a lot of hits for a lot of different artists. And don't get me wrong, his songs do come off as catchy, even if I don't really like most of them, but at least they're earworms with hooks. Mostly because Max Martin himself came from a hard rock band.
Yeah. Or you get someone like what's his name, Rick Rubin, who who's done producing stuff on so many amazing, like everything from Beastie Boys to Kanye West to like tons of rock albums. I mean, like that guy's like done, but like a lot of times, like I remember seeing like footage of him like producing like on, I can't remember what album it was. It was like a Red Hot Chili Peppers album or something like that. At one point, they're doing like the song, and like it looked, as far as I could tell, the only thing Rick Rubin did was lay on a couch. And occasionally they'd be like, "What do you think of that?" And he'd be like,
Yeah, I've heard stories about that with Rick Rubin, where he would just lay around and then he'd just thumb up whatever he wanted. Yeah. And it was crazy because, like, when he first started out as a producer, he actually played on the tracks he produced in the very beginning when he was doing hip hop production.
Yeah, I mean, he's still a legendary.
Somewhere.
What's that? Oh yeah, Hey Somewhere. Yeah. She was on stream yesterday. She has a really interesting. She has a really interesting life story she was talking about. So that's a good one to watch. If you go back and watch one of our recent streams, like the last 30 minutes or so, that one, that's a really good one. It's like got it's got a pretty interesting story with her on there. But yeah. Anyway,
is she the one with the?
Yeah, she has a granddaughter named the same as my daughter, Juniper. There she is. Anyway, yeah, but that was we had a pretty interesting conversation overall with TCPS on that stream. Like it was a good one. It was pretty productive actually. Like because I know he's been feeling real down about his channel not really going.
That's what led to that conversation, because he didn't want to make live streams or content if he felt like there was no audience to watch it, and even the audience he would get was just him speaking to the choir. It wasn't really like
changing people's minds.
Really reaching that far. It wasn't really reaching out that far.
I wonder how long it takes to grow streams, like what the growth rate is and what people are.
A lot of it has to be like, if you're not somebody that's pushed by the algorithms, you kind of have to do it organically by talking to a lot of different people through interviews and just all sorts of other things.
Getting on Destiny or getting on Joe Rogan is like the only real surefire hack there, I guess you could say, to really get to grow viewers really fast. That's really the reason that I've been talking about like this label networking type idea, because I'm trying to like create my own luck here. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how we can, if we can't break through in the way the system is currently, then I'm trying to figure out how to break the system for our own purposes.
All we need to do is just like promote and network better. We haven't really done any of that.
Okay. Well, no, because all this is just in its infancy.
This is very grassroots. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is very grassroots, and I don't know we might be at a normal growth rate.
It's extremely grassroots.
But it's just getting maybe some bigger people involved or going on bigger streams. We talked about visiting some of the more popular streams and get out in the community. I drop in on Sitch and Adam every now and then, but they're never talking about anything that interests me to comment on.
Right.
I think they have like an email that you can like actually email them if like you're interested in if you have something you want to talk to them about. But like,
Well,
but you got,
maybe we should do that. Think of some big streamers that we might have a chance of collaborating with and contacting them
most of them just
and being very clear about what we have to offer.
Most of it's very similar to Paul though. Like they're really only interested in like people that like that they can have arguments with though. That's where
They
the
can have
problem.
arguments with me. I will argue with anybody. Anybody can come on here and have an argument with me.
Yeah, I guess right now I don't know what their positions on Israel or Palestine is, but if they're pro-Palestine, you can definitely email them about your positions on that. I don't know. I'm not passionate enough about it to really want to go on like position. I mean, I go on to support your side, but I mean,
and the other thing is like making little short clips that we can shop around to larger audiences.
Right.
Yeah, crazy though.
It's not about arguing; it's about the truth.
Yeah, I agree, but sometimes you have to argue with people to get them to see the truth. I mean, to find the truth.
Oh, and she was saying that she said the Salty Cracker 2019 with a couple of thousand eyes of 800 plus. It took time. Yeah, I know it, and I know that is the thing. It takes time, it takes consistency, and it takes all those kind of things to grow like that. But I guess my thing is that at this point, like the reason I have the urgency I have is because I don't have a lot of time. I'm not like dying or something, but I don't have a lot of time in terms of like just being able to just survival wise, like the assistance and everything we've been living on and stuff like that's not going to get much farther. And I'm trying to find a way that, and the only thing I'm getting any traction with at all is in this space. So I'm like, okay, well, if this is where the traction I have is, I'm trying to figure out a way to make this work.
Well, let's talk to Joshua or find us another capitalist that can see opportunities that we're not seeing.
And Joshua probably knows.
If we get a network together, we'd have a larger pool of people to offer. It wouldn't just be us. We could do it on behalf of a larger group.
Definitely. Yeah, I think Joshua, he may not be like interested in investing himself, but he probably knows other people.
I just want to pick his brain. I'm not saying invest. I'm talking about picking his brain because he thinks like a capitalist in ways that I don't.
That's true. He thinks
no, I wouldn't take a penny for that. I don't want any strings attached to him at all. Although he did offer to make us that website. He said he had the calendar ready.
Yeah,
that's what we're trying to figure out. Illumination. We've been talking about it for a while and just figuring out how to centralize this little community and get it promoted better and growing.
Yeah, Illumination. If you do go back, I mean, once the stream is done, if you go back and just listen to like the I got like 30 minutes in or so. Is I guess I don't know if they're talking about before that, but like whenever I came on about 30 minutes in or so, that's what we started talking about. We talked about that a lot in detail with NeuroJack. So I think NeuroJack's coming back. He said he had.
And I'll be right back.
Okay.
Well, do you have another Cascadian?
Okay, so like as far as what I've been up to, like last week, me and my girlfriend saw Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh God, yeah, how was that?
She liked it. But in the process of that, it got me like down the rabbit hole of researching animatronics, and I've spent like a really big chunk of my time just like. It started out like looking up Chuck E. Cheese because that was the first pizza restaurant to really kind of get famous for doing that.
Yeah, even though Showbiz Pizza is the one that Five Nights at Freddy's is more based on, from my understanding.
Yeah, Showbiz Pizza is the one that, like, at first I thought, like, the characters looked kind of creepy the way they were designed. But then when I actually got to see them move around and, and see the Rockafire explosion in action, I was like, I actually kind of like these characters. They're actually pretty cool. And the song covers they do are actually pretty good, too, as well.
Yeah, no, I have like, even though I like the worst memories I have of Chuck E. Cheese or Showbiz Pizza from when I was a kid is how bad the pizza was. The pizza of those places was terrible.
Oh, I can imagine.
The pizza place was terrible, but the animatronic stuff and the games and the arcade stuff, that was all great. But every time, I never wanted to go there for like any of my parties, but I had friends at parties there, growing up. And like, I remember I was like most kids, I love pizza. I remember never finishing my piece of pizza at those parties. Like it was worse than like that Costco, like Costco grease bread that they sell you for that they call pizza. I
Right.
don't know, maybe it's better, but like back whenever I used to work for Tower Records, they used to always like if they want to give us pizza, they'd go to Costco and get a stack of like these just grease circles that were just they were awful. And
Oh, I can imagine.
like
Well,
I
like
wouldn't
even
eat
in the commercials for Showbiz Pizza, I thought their pizza looked like crap. I was like, this doesn't look delicious.
It does not, and Chuck E. Cheese is the same way. Like I last time I went, granted, like could have gotten better over years or something like that. The last time I went is when like my niece Mia, she had a birthday party there. Like I don't know, like she's like what 16 now or something. Or
She's 13.
She's 13. Okay, so it must have been, and this was like she was like 5. So we're talking about like close to 10 years ago. But I remember going there just like I remember like picking up like one piece of pizza and taking like 2 bites of it. And it was just that same kind of like. It's supposedly not frozen pizza, but somehow they make it taste worse than frozen pizza. I don't know how they do that. It's amazing. It's an accomplishment. It's like they figure out some hack to making pizza worse than like Totino's. You know, a Totino's.
Hey,
like,
I like Totino's.
Yeah, some of them are all right. I don't mind the pizza bites.
I grew
but
up on
If you're
Totino's.
about like a full size Totino's pizza, it's kind of like I don't know. Actually, but there's something kind of nostalgic about it. I'll admit. Like we got this pizza but there's a market here called Central Market, this grocery store, and they had this special on for like this like really fancy, expensive pizza for like you got it for free if you bought this other item. And so we did that because we were gonna buy the other thing anyway. It was just ice cream, and you got a free pizza with it. And then we were like, oh, it was really exciting to try like this really it was for a frozen pizza. It was really expensive. Normally it was like $20 for like this frozen pizza. And like so we thought it was gonna be really great, and we cooked it according to the instructions and ate it, and it tasted exactly like a Totino's frozen pizza. And we were like, "What the fuck is this?" Like, I mean, like it kind of like it gave us both like this distance of like, there is no way they're selling this. Are they just like taking Totino's pizza and just like repackaging it like fancy looking like things and calling it all this other stuff because it said it was like organic and all this stuff and just selling it to rich people? Because I think that's really what they were doing. I really do. It wasn't. I still ate it, and it had like I had like that nostalgia of eating like Totino's pizza bites whenever I was like a teenager, but it was bad though. It was food technically, I
Well,
guess.
for a while, Costco was selling these pizza bites that had uncured pepperoni in it, and those have tasted great. But it was funny because speaking back to Showbiz Pizza, like, what was it like when you saw the Rock-afire explosion in person?
The last time I saw it, weirdly enough, I was I can't remember if I was 18 or 19. I used to take voice lessons. And in exchange for doing I couldn't afford the voice lesson from this guy, but I was I'm a low tenor when I sing, and a low tenor is a very rare range for a man to have. And so like he basically said like, I will give you voice lessons for free if you will sing in my choir. Man, they did competition choir. So I did competition choir for 2 years. And one of the years when we went to regional competitions for a choir, my parents came out there to watch and everything. And I did like we did find this choir thing, but like my parents didn't. The only place around there that my sister would eat at was a Showbiz Pizza. So we went to a Showbiz Pizza after this choir competition, and they got a pizza and everything. And like they actually had the animatronics that were still working, and they did the whole thing. And I have to say that even they played nothing but Beatles songs covers. And I have to say that it was actually pretty all right. I mean, the animatronics were there was a couple of them that were a little, you can tell they weren't working up to their fullest. We were the only people in the entire place too. There was no other customers. It was the middle of the afternoon. Like nobody goes to Showbiz Pizza at like 4 p.m. So it was like we're the only people in the room, and like and it was pretty all right. Like I said, like for what it is, it wasn't creepy to me. I mean, maybe if I got traumatized when I was a kid, but I didn't think it was all like creepy. It was just kind of like they were weird kind of countrified Beatle songs, like because they had like the bear kind of has like a little bit of like the southern twang.
Yeah, that's Billy Bob.
Yeah,
Billy Bob, the bear with the southern accent, with the snaggletooth. Then you had Fats the gorilla, who's like the piano playing gorilla, who sounds like the Big Bopper.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had Beach Bear, who was actually a pretty good singer, and he was supposed to be their guitar player, but he was actually a real life talented musician, and he was kind of like the laid back, smart guy Then you had that dog with the spacesuit playing drums named Duke, who could actually sing pretty good. Then you had the female mouse named Mitzi Mozzarella, who was also a pretty good singer, but her like voice actress started out at the age of 11. So she kind of grew up over time as a character. She's like the only character in the cast that aged. Of course, her animatronic always looked the same, but it just the voice and just like the dialogue. She got older over time. Then you had that wolf with the hand puppet, which is pretty funny, Rolf D. Wolf, and the hand puppet's name is Earl, and Earl always insults Rolf, and then Rolf just sounds like this arrogant, blowhard.
Wow, the whole. You really did research it, man. You know the whole thing. Yeah, I mean, so like, I wasn't that bad. Like, I kind of love like theme restaurants that really go far enough to like have like people and characters like that. We used to like when we lived in Vegas. We used to go to the Star Trek bar at the Hilton, and it was based on. If you don't know if you know.
Oh,
Star
yeah.
Trek bar. Did you ever go there? It
Yeah,
was based
I
on.
love the Star Trek bar.
Yeah, it was based on Quark's bar from.
I got harassed by a Klingon.
Yeah, you get harassed by Klingon, exactly. There would be people like there would be regular waiters that would just be dressed, but then there would be those people in full on makeup and impressive, full on Star Trek makeup, like in Klingon and Romulan and all this stuff like that, and they'd just come up to your table and like start like just harassing you and just kind of being like, how dare you show your face in here, human, and all this stuff like that. While you drink like these drinks, these giant fishbowl drinks.
What's the big one called?
Yeah, exactly. The smoking part. Oh, I was so heartbroken when they closed that place down. That was like our favorite. That was me and Lindsay. That was like our place. That was our place. Like that. Like that's like we went there.
Warp Drive or something. The drink.
It was Quark's bar, but yeah.
That was fun.
I never did the ride though. I never even bothered to do the ride. We just
it was okay. It was one of those 3D motion rides.
It was a 4D thing. I didn't really care. I didn't care anything about it. But I just love to go in there and I just love to go in there and get a booth and like get like giant like we used to get the James T. Kirk. That was basically just like the Long Island iced tea. And like I said, like they would fill it with dry ice, so the whole thing would smoke the whole time, and you just drink it out of the straw.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, the Romulan ale one was
Warp
okay.
Core Breach. That's what it was called.
Warp Core Breach.
Yeah.
That was the name of the bar or the drink?
The drink.
The drink. Okay.
It was the big drink that came in the bowl with the dry ice.
They all came in the bowls that I ever got. We never got a drink that didn't come in a bowl, so we tried them all. I don't remember the word. Remember there was one that was a green that was Borg something, and I remember it tasted like apple. It had like Midori sour kind of flavor to it. And then there was the Romulan ale one, which was like a rum punch. And then there was the James T. Kirk, which was the iced tea. And I don't remember what the Warp Core Breach was. What color was it? Was it yellow or something? Or what?
Oh, remember that movie Star Trek? I think it was Star Trek First Contact or something, where they tried to turn Jean-Luc Picard into an action hero, and it was hilarious. Like when he shoots down the Borg with a Tommy gun, and then he's like,
First Contact, I love that movie. Yeah, I love that movie. I grew up a Star Trek nerd though, so I mean, like I have tons of nostalgic affection for all.
But do you think Picard was acting out of character in that movie, like that one reviewer was saying?
Sure, but I liked it anyway. I think it
didn't matter. It was fun, right?
I think it was more about the fact that it was like actually there is like an argument made that like that kind of rage was always kind of boiling under the surface for Picard. He was always trying to keep himself composed and everything, but in that situation, whenever his ship was taken over by Borg, and he had been turned into a Borg before himself, and it was like so he had a personal vendetta. That was the thing about it. He had like this. He felt like the Borg stole part of his humanity from him, and so like he had rage that he didn't normally have. But it's just that he did that one time in like the holodeck thing and shot the one Borg, and he did it for a reason, so he'd get the chip out of them, so they could like get into like their sealed off section. So I mean, it all makes sense in the movie. I don't know. People dog on it these days, I guess, because it's just hip to do so, but. I mean, compared to the other Next Generation movies, compared to Generations or Insurrections or Nemesis, like those, all three of those are pretty bad. But First Contact's badass. I love it. I prefer all the stuff in the ship way more than the stuff on the surface. I wrote read an article crack that never got published about abandoned Star Trek sequels, and there was like seriously the first concept for First Contact was actually going to be that the Borg going to send them back in time like they did, but it's going to be they're going to get sent back to medieval times, and it was going to be the Star Trek cast versus the Borg in an old castle.
That would have been awesome.
I'm glad they didn't make that.
Really, I think that would have been amazing. Are you kidding me? It was gonna have like the Star Trek team. They're gonna get like they were gonna like have to like use like armor because like they didn't have any of their stuff. They're gonna have to like use.
Well, yeah,
armor.
now you make a good point. Like, I just don't know how they would have found the budget for that because that would have cost a lot of money to build the sets and
I'm sure
the costumes.
It was just I just think it's hilarious. I mean, I'm not saying it may not have been a great movie, but it would have been hilarious and fun. I mean, like it wouldn't have been corny. It would have been cornier than Star Trek 4 when they went back and saved whales. So
Yeah, true. I remember Star Trek 4. That was a fun movie.
Yeah, I mean, I love pretty much I love all the Star Trek movies except for like maybe like I even kind of affection for 5 even just because I saw it in theaters when I was a kid. It's a bad movie, but I have affection for it. I don't really care for like 3 out of 4 of the TNG movies because I don't know. They're just I liked them fine at the time, but like they're not very much fun to rewatch. I liked the first of the new ones they made, and the last one they made was okay, but like that second one they did Khan again, that one was bad as hell. I thought that was terrible. But I don't know. I grew up a Star Trek fan.
Yeah, but they turned a meme into Kirk yelling Khan.
Yeah, I mean, it's just pretty much it was an excuse to do that again. And like I don't know, I thought the whole reversal of the fact that it was Kirk that goes into the warp core to save the ship instead of it being Spock. And it was just so predictable to me. But anyway, I can nerd out about Star Trek all day long. I'm a huge fan of Deep Space Nine. That's the one that's the reason why I love the Star Trek bar so much because it was based on my favorite Star Trek was Deep Space Nine. I love Quark. I love the idea of Quark's bar.
Quark is my friend.
And I love the fact that like two or three of the times we went, like it was instead of the Klingon guy that was there, it was actually like the Ferengi Quark character, and I loved interacting with that guy. He was so much fun to interact with. He would act like he was trying to like clue you in on a treasure hunt or something like that. It would always be fun. I love that shit. It's kind of like a Renaissance festival, but for Star Trek.
Before I forget, I was going to share this too. Like, Pill Eater sent me a recent article he published about the Mishima delusion, about Yukio Mishima, and he was bringing up how a lot of people in like the manosphere or the right try to bring up how based you are if you just work out and get muscles stacked on muscles and look like a character from He-Man. But then he makes the case that being buff does not make you a good rider.
Does it make you a good writer?
No.
Yeah. I definitely sent the article. Like that sounds like fun. I mean, I don't see what's so based about just working out. Like, I mean, have you ever met any of those meatheads that do that focus all their time on building their muscles and stuff like that? God,
yeah, but it's funny because those meatheads have more in common with the character Glazer from that movie, The Burning, than anything else I could think of. And the funny thing is, Glazer was this muscle-bound nitwit. And the funny part about him before he gets killed by Cropsy is he has sex with the girl that he had a crush on, and they finally do it, and he prematurely ejaculates.
It's called The Burning. What movie is this? I've never heard of this.
It was this slasher film from 1981, and I think the most notable thing that it's remembered for nowadays is the fact that Jason Alexander was in it.
Interesting. I'll have to check that out. I love bad horror films. Like I usually watch them whenever when there's a riff tracks or something from them all these days. But still, I'll watch anything if it's really that. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I'd have to. So I didn't get that reference, but yeah,
But yeah, it's weird seeing Jason Alexander with a head of hair, though.
Have you ever seen that one movie, that Brian Bosworth movie that came out in the '80s? I can't remember what it's called right now. It's because Brian Bosworth is a football player, and he made this one movie, and it's like one of the most amazing and terrible movies ever made.
It's
No,
called
I haven't seen it. I mean, I know who Brian Bosworth is, but I just didn't know he was even in a movie.
There's this one movie that came in the 80s, and I swear to God, like they like Red Letter Media's covered it. There's a riff tracks for it. There's like, I mean, it's kind of notorious these days, like for being like one of the. I guess he's done a lot more movies. Stone Cold, that's it. That movie is fucking amazing. It is just the most. It is the most 80s thing ever made. It is like, I mean, it's one of those movies where things just absolutely explode after anything barely touching them. Like one bullet blows up whole helicopters, and it's like it's just and like it has no like and like by the end of the movie, like the hero, the good guy, he hasn't done any. He doesn't do anything really. Nothing he tries to do works out. He pretty much fails at everything, and it just kind of ends. And it's just like it's insane. But like it's totally if you like 80s action movies that have like big muscle. I just thought of that because talking like kind of the character you're describing. The other movie just kind of reminded me of that. Like this character,
Yeah.
like he has kind of failed sexual conquests and just is all jacked up and everything. Like the movie starts out with him making like makes like some smoothie with like raw eggs and a Snickers bar and some other shit in it, like in a blender. It's just bizarre, man. But he's got like
That is funny when guys put raw eggs in their blender.
Yeah,
and they think it's like manly to do that, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, it's salmonella is the most manly thing ever, dude. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm gonna put a raw egg in my smoothie. That's just gonna put muscles on top of the muscles.
We used to do that growing up.
In your smoothies?
And my uncle would make these like milkshakes with vanilla and milk and whatever and he'd crack a raw egg to it. We raised our own eggs, so they were like the country eggs. And one time there was a little baby chicken in the egg, like a little bloody chicken embryo.
Oh, I hate that.
Came out of the egg and he swirled it up in the milkshake.
Disturbing.
That's gross. That sounds like that bulat thing that they eat in the Philippines, where it's like that duck fetus and the egg.
Oh yeah, they do that with chicken eggs too. They let the chicken like much to the point they let the mother basically keep the egg until like they're sure until like a certain number of days they know that like the fetus is probably formed, and then they usually they put the egg in some sort of solution to like ferment it or something, and then they eat like the raw chicken fetus thing. It's disgusting. I don't understand like what the. It's one of those things I think they eat because they believe it gives you fertility or something like that. Something like the rhino horn shit and stuff like that. So
right.
Like I never understood like that. Like so what? It's because it's a horn, so it's gonna make you horny. I guess that's the idea. Like where's where's the logic here? I know, unless you know something about it, unless you've actually heard that it actually does, maybe it really works for that or something. But I have my doubts.
Yeah, I doubt too.
What's that?
I doubt it too. Like press X to doubt.
There's so many cultures that will eat various animal penises for fertility reasons too. I just think that's just weird, just in general. Just like, well, yeah. I want to make sure that I have a baby, so I'm going to eat lots of other kinds of penises. That's just so weird. Like there's that show Weird Foods with Andrew Zimmerman, and like he used to go around and like every episode was pretty much just like, what kind of penis am I going to eat today? That's pretty much like all he did.
The weird thing about that show is he would eat meat, different kinds of meat, and then I would just think in my head, that doesn't look too bad.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of things that but then later on, but then there's always like it seemed like half the episodes I ever saw were always like something about some kind of penis being eaten. I was like, is there no lack of like, I don't know. It just seems like I don't know, just like I guess. But then again, they're also playing things with playing things. They eat various kind of testicles too. So I mean, whatever, They do that in Fear Factor all the time. Make people eat testicles.
Oh yeah, I used
like
to
pickled testicles and shit like that. Like they like, but for the amount of money that they were, I never understood why anybody on Fear Factor was ever like truly afraid, because there's all these people around with like there's all this insurance and all this stuff and safety protocols in every place. So like I mean they're not they might dump snakes on you, but if there was a good chance that you're going to get bitten to death and like bitten and poisoned.
But your brain doesn't know that. When you're in the situation, you still feel the same fear you would
But
feel.
you know it's going to happen beforehand. You have plenty of time to like rationalize the fact that like, wait, they're not going to let me get bitten to death by snakes, you know, and I get to
It's
walk
not
out
about
every day.
getting bitten to death. I don't think any of us think they're going to get bitten to death. There's still
Here's a brand
something
snake.
that it still triggers fear in your brain to have snakes crawling all over you.
I mean, so I don't know. I
It's
don't have
nothing you
anything.
can it's nothing you can rationalize your way out of.
Yeah,
I
but
don't have any.
speaking,
What was that?
I was going to say really quick because I'm going to be heading out pretty soon. But speaking of this, there was a really funny story about a concert with Alice Cooper where they had the snake on the stage, and then the snake decided to take a dump, and it smelled so bad that a bunch of clowns were rushing up to the stage to clean it up and started puking everywhere because of the smell.
Weird. The snake? I didn't even know. I didn't
What
know
did they
snakes.
eat?
Shit that
Mice?
I just think this picture of clowns going up on a
Like
stage.
something out of a Hodorowski movie.
You know the whole thing with Alice Cooper and like him biting the head off the bat. You know, like according to him, like he didn't know it was a real bat.
I thought
when
that
he
was
did it.
Ozzy.
That was Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh, that was Ozzy Osbourne, was it? That was Alice Cooper.
The incident with Alice Cooper was when it was in an early concert when somebody tossed a chicken on the stage and he thought
Oh, okay.
the chicken could fly, so he threw that back to the crowd and then the crowd ripped it apart.
Oh, okay. Okay, that makes more sense. I just remember hearing like the story about like him doing something that like he really regretted it because it like made him, it really upset him like that whatever happened. I mean, maybe that happened with Ozzy too. I don't know. Maybe Ozzy knew it was a bat, it was a live bat, but I remember hearing that he thought it
Yeah,
was.
it was Ozzy. He thought it was a prop and then he bit into it and then he had to go to the hospital afterwards.
Right.
And then there was another story where Motley Crue said they were on an elevator with him, and he started snorting up a bunch of ants with a straw.
Oh God, that would so not go well for you. Can you imagine you having like live ants crawling around your sinuses? Dear God. Oh, just the thought of that just makes me want to like. Oh. That's
And then
terrifying.
there was a story that he took like acid in 1972 and he stopped taking it because after he took it, he was like, he spent like a bunch of hours speaking to a horse until the horse told him to screw off.
I saw a girl once like take it like on shrooms like talk to a tree for like half an hour once. But that's the closest
Oh
I've
yeah,
ever.
that's normal.
I never did, but like but that was yeah, it was some girl that came to like this party we had with shrooms and like everybody wanted to go for a walk outside and she started talking to this tree in some neighbor's yard and like we couldn't get her to leave. She was like somebody had to like stand there and just like wait because we were afraid she wouldn't be able to find her way back to the house. So of course that was me. So I just stood there and waited while she talked to the tree. And finally her conversation with the tree ended and she came back to the house. But it was yeah.
All right, well, thanks for having me on.
Of course,
I'll
man.
talk more
Yeah,
about
thanks for coming on. Oh. Well, we can end anyway. I gotta go get my hair cut. But we're coming back on at 7.
Seriously? At 7?
Yeah. And then
Sounds good.
machine's streaming at 7:30.
All right, it'll be the Machine Lies stream counter stream. We'll see how that. We'll see what the next where it goes. I know. Say goodbye. Say bye to Jeff.
Hi, Juniper. Bye. Bye, Juniper. Hi.
Yeah, she's
Juniper.
here's her voice. Here's her name. She's like,
she's
she's
you're
been saying,
normalizing this. She's gonna need this her whole childhood now.
No, as soon as I got in front of the computer, she got excited and came and crawled over. She was like, she started crawling to the computer. She wanted to get.
You're raising a viewer.
And she's this morning she started saying pretty clearly. She started saying "I love you" this morning. She was going, "I love you, I love you."
Oh my
you
God.
say it? You say "I love you"? Yeah, she was
I
embarrassed.
love you.
She clapped.
How old is
clapped.
she?
10 months.
How much? 6 months?
I love you. See, there it was. Yeah.
What did you say?
She's saying "I love you." I love you. I love you. she's working. It's getting more articulated every time. Like I wasn't sure what she was saying the other day, but this morning, like I was saying, I love you, Juniper, I love you, and she started saying that exact, like the cadence was the same, so I knew that that's what she was doing. She was
smart.
She's copying. She doesn't know really what that means exactly yet, but she knows we say it to her all the time, so she's singing back. She said, "Look, I can clap. I can clap." Yeah. Okay. I guess she's done. Bye bye. I guess you're saying bye bye.
Bye. Well, maybe we'll see tonight. Bye.
What are you gonna play us out with? Let's play out some music.
Oh yeah, I was there was one I liked today. I was find it. Where does it go? Here it
His
is.
name is Jeff. That's Jeff. Like this is pretty one. This is one I absolutely forgot I made entirely until I listened to it today. And I was like, I had to like check and make sure I made it because like, and I did, but I
played it because it went with the water. It went with the fountains.
No, yeah, it's a really nice track actually. I listened to it. I listened to it last night, and I was like, wow. And like sometimes I listen to some old music, and I'm like, wow, I was better than I give myself credit for. So this stuff is pretty good. You know, like it's like a lot of times I think in my memory I was thinking like, I wasn't really all that great, you know, that kind of thing. It was like my music wasn't all that good. But sometimes I listen to myself, and I'm like, I like a lot of my music. It's pretty good. Thank you, man. See you guys tomorrow. See you guys at 7.
See you later. See you. Okay, we'll be back tonight, 7 p.m. We're going to take a little break and see you then. And Machine's streaming at 7:30 Central if you're interested in that too. So you can feel free to drift back and forth between the streams. Maybe we'll even end up on his stream. Okay, have a good rest of your day, and we will hopefully see you later tonight.